So she has a technical conflict, so she will be in this today.
Okay.
Okay, now this webinar is being audio recorded. So welcome to the San Mateo County Coastside Design Review Committee meeting. The Design Review Committee is established in the zoning regulations. It's appointed by the Board of Supervisors. Today is Thursday, January 11, 2024. Now it's 1:07 p.m. This hearing consists of a total of 4 projects. For better recording quality and the orderliness of this meeting, please put your phone on silent, avoid extra chatting in the audience, and wait for my prompt before you speak on any matters. This meeting is being audio recorded. There are 2 opportunities for the public to speak, including oral communications for matters not on the agenda, and a separate public comment session for each project on the agenda. Please review your agenda. Please review the agenda to identify which item you wish to speak on and the time of that item. For the fairness and orderliness of this meeting, and due to the amount of speakers, please limit your speech to 3 minutes or less, which will be strictly enforced. The chair will open public comment session during the public comment period for oral communications for items not on the agenda. For each item on the regular agenda, I will first read comments received before the meeting into the record for those who are not present in this meeting. For those attending this meeting in person, speaker forms available on the wall in the back of this room. Please fill out your speaker form and provide it to me before each public comment session. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on an agenda item. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. Please provide your speaker form, raise your hand, or press *9 on your device before each public comment session, and late speaker requests will not be accepted. Please note that members of the public must wait for my prompt in connection with each agenda item before speaking. Also, you cannot speak on an agenda item that's later in this meeting. When you hear your name or last 4 digits of your phone number called, I will prompt you to come to the front or unmute your account and inform that you may begin speaking. I will then ask you to state your name, address for the record. For those joining by phone, pressing *6 will mute or unmute your microphone. The design review committee's decision for item 1, 3, and 4 today, if any, will be recommendations regarding the project compliance and not the final decision on the project, the decision of which will take place at a later date. The design review committee's decision for item 2 today is appealable to the planning commission within 10 working days by filing an appeal and paying the applicable filing fees. If you would like to file an appeal, please contact the project staff whose email address is listed on the agenda under their respective project. The appeal will be accepted by 5 p.m. January 26, 2024. The CRC does not review matters related to zoning standards, local coastal policies, and general plan, and will only review projects based on design review guidelines and standards. The CRC, based on the scale and scope of changes, continued projects may be placed in the next month's agenda if revisions are submitted to the county by the end of business day, Friday, January 19th. Applicants should note that continuous letters may not be available by that day and are encouraged to take note of the committee's feedback. The next Coastside Design Review Committee meeting will be held on Thursday, February 8, 2024. Item 1 on the agenda is roll call. Rebecca Kecken.
Present.
Mark Stackmeyer.
Stelena C.
John Statman. Not present. Mark Dean.
Golfing.
Here. Okay. So with that, I turn it over to the chair.
Who's kind of rusty. So I've sent out a couple of chair reports that were very tardy and not up to date in any way, so my apologies for that. So the Coastside Design Review Committee, CDRC, is appointed by the Board of Supervisors to ensure that new development is complete with the is compatible with the physical settings of the site and visual character of the neighborhood, and provide a platform for neighborhood residents to communicate their concerns communities of Montero, Moss Beach, Elgranado, Miramar, and Princeton. I always want to bring up the demonstration of scale. I think became an issue just prior to this meeting, but I didn't follow the emails very well. Glenn and Mark, you were both talking about that.
Yeah, so I can just I can talk about that. So before this meeting, there's like some questions about demonstration of scale. So we're not going to discuss the details until we start the review session for that project. But just also give you some general information before that. So demonstration of scale policy currently, as I described in my email. So we deem the project complete before we request the demonstration scale information. And after that, we recommend, or highly recommend, or kind of require applicants to provide information to us 15 days prior to the hearing, so we can provide feedback.
Right.
And the posting requirement is 10 days, so they post 10 days prior to the hearing. So that's the current requirements. And so sometimes we encounter issues because the 15-day deadline is sometimes overlaps with the publication of the agenda day. So it just limits our ability to implement like further requirements or do like or postpone or suggest postponing a project. So it's kind of our constraint there. So hope the CRC understand, and also yeah. So since this has been discussion for a long time, and now we can, since there's like some issue happening, so we can welcome any ideas or suggestions to help us improve this process.
I think it should be, if they're not going to do story polls, then it should just be part of getting that project deemed complete.
Okay, again, please.
It should be part of
The company's review.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
If they're not gonna do story polls, then if they are gonna do them, then they can wait till the 10 days, but otherwise. Just
Okay.
get it in there right now. I mean, might as well. They're doing all the same process anyway.
Yeah, okay, so understand this, and now with the, yeah, so since we're also aware of like issues happen frequently and also happen in the past. So I can definitely just note it down and have a further discussion with planning staff. And we'll circle back and see how we can improve this existing policy. So last time, the improvement we made was to require or highly recommend a 15-day feedback deadline for people to submit their information to us for review. But this time, we'll take your information and we can further discuss with the planning staff to see what can do further to prevent future issues.
So the requirement of posting is 10 days, right? But
Yes.
you're recommending people 15 days, which
Yeah.
is great because I've definitely had projects where neighbors say they didn't get their notices on time.
Yeah,
So
quite a
maybe
bit,
an extra
yeah.
5 days should help with that as well. But I agree. I mean, it's really hard to have a project come up that isn't complete and
Yeah.
knowing that the applicants have paid and taken time to be here to
Yeah.
just say, we're not gonna look at it. But
Yeah,
I do feel like we're not really able to approve projects that don't meet the completeness requirements.
okay. And also there's another clarification I would like to mention that's regarding the requirement for renderings. So the demonstration scale, it doesn't call out like rendering clear. It doesn't say rendering is required. It says like demonstration scale, including like story polls or other methods. So for other methods, there's like sometimes people do like may do 2D demonstration scale with like the height of like adjacent structures. So that's another way to demonstrate scale. So just want the community to be aware that we highly recommend rendering. I also believe that's an effective way to demonstrate scale, but sometimes people just find like a different way to demonstrate scale while comply with the demonstration scale policies. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, so Glenn, the specific question I have is, so there's a 2020 policy that the county has on the demonstration of scale, which talks about what you mentioned, either story polls or what
Images.
images, yeah, can qualify for that. So my specific questions: who is doing the review of that to policy? I don't, I know we're supposed to stay in our lane with the design review standards, but part of that standards include scale, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we review. Is that Is that within our purview, if you will, to weigh in on that, or something, is that something that the planners do?
Definitely. So it's like a two-step process, as I mentioned earlier, where you have a demonstration scale information like rendering or like photos of historicals. Planners, we review it like the 15-day deadline, and we provide feedback to the applicants. So it's not that's the nature of the demonstration scale. It's like sometimes when you look at an image like 3D or 2D, like from a different angle, it may give you different information. So sometimes it's not always clear cut for us. So we will do.
The policy is pretty clear about neighboring properties, about views from each neighboring property.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is, when we receive information, we will review, the information, to see if it's compliant with that policy. However, it doesn't limit, the CDRC's ability to further comment on it, because as I mentioned, demonstration scale, 3D or 2D, it may not, like one view may not be able to show the information that CDRC needs to make your findings or your findings. Yeah, so you can comment on that. It doesn't mean that if we comment, doesn't mean you cannot further comment on it. So it's CRs will still have the authority to comment and weigh in on the demonstration scale at the city.
So we can comment on completeness.
You can. So you can comment on the demonstration scale, not necessarily the completeness, but it's kind of related. So that's why I was saying, when you see like something that's missing, or like the view is not like, it's not taken from the right, like the best angle, you may comment to obtain additional information, maybe like just like a different angle to obtain more information, so you can make your finding. So it's not really about completeness, because I don't want to confuse the committee. So completeness review, as I mentioned earlier, it's done before we request.
Yeah, and it doesn't include the demonstration scale.
Yeah, so yeah, going back to your point, if you think it needs like additional information in your demonstration scale, you can definitely request that, so you can make an informed decision.
Okay, and not specific to item, the item that we're going to talk about, but one thing that's been bubbling up with me is just as some of these discussions are happening between and applicants and owners, has there ever been like staff reports provided to committee members on issues in advance of meetings? Because just where I work, usually if an item comes in front of the board has to do some really some analysis, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like a staff report.
That's quite common. So like plan commission hearings, we would draft staff reports to inform the commission beforehand, so they have basic information. But all I know is that's the tradition that we do not require staff report for CDRC meetings. So if we really see a need, then I can just see the messenger and express that concern on behalf of the committee to the management staff. But it has been a tradition, and if you see a real need, then just let me know, and I can be the messenger.
Yeah, and I fully understand too that staff reports, it becomes entered in. It probably has to be submitted into the materials online. So I'm fully aware that it could require more effort to get that ready for something.
Yeah, so at present, our approach is to have a comprehensive, like relatively comprehensive project description in the agenda, and also staff members, planning staff are almost always available to answer any questions that the committee may have during the meeting. So that's our current approach, but I'll definitely write down the concern you have.
Okay, thank you. Back to Mark.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
So I don't really get, I want to wrap that, to put that into words is we're gonna try to get it part of the completed project. If there are gonna be images or rendering.
Yeah, so that's that's a concern you expressed, and I don't have the authority to make that decision right now.
I know.
I would
Who does?
take it back. Huh?
Who does? I just wonder if it's gonna be.
It needs to go
staff.
up, like, you just need to follow the chain of the hierarchy within our department, so I will just have a discussion with Camille first.
Mhm.
If Camille can make the decision, then she may make that decision. And if not, then she may elevate it to our assistant director and or the director for a decision. So, yeah, so that's a concern we know and we will discuss first. And, yeah, so we will have something to update you next time at the CRC meeting.
Mark, do you mind just adding that into the?
Sure.
report that you shared?
Yeah, so that way we can just keep tracking the
Right.
progress.
Right,
Yes.
so, yeah, sorry. So, I think we're down to, I actually didn't print myself a copy of it. The,
Yeah, new business, CDRC
Yeah.
positions.
well, I don't have any, except for, the other positions that we meant. So anyway, I think we've enlisted two more people, one, Julian Martinez and Jim Bennington. And I think you said in a letter that he just wasn't gonna be available today.
Okay, I'm only aware of one name, that's Julian. Yeah, he did both this week, and he has a conflict today, so he wasn't able to join us, but he will manage to join our future meeting. So that's the only name, that only the only newly appointed CDRC member I'm aware.
So you didn't write that letter to me?
The letter you sent, yeah, you sent me a few names.
About Jim Bennington not being available for 1/11.
What about Moshe Porter?
Week and a half.
Moshe Porter told me that he had applied, he was an applicant a couple of years ago, I think he's an architect.
Oh,
And he told me that he applied for a position and asked me to check and see how it was going. I emailed Camille, I haven't heard back.
Great, I would suggest that, the applicants may work with the board supervisor's office, the staff members directly, because they're doing like the, application screening, they're managing like the entire process. So you'll be good or beneficial to follow up with the, board supervisor's office directly. And I can provide you with contact information.
sure.
Okay, I have an email that I sent to you and Glenn right ahead of the holiday. That's all right, to you and Camille, so I'm just gonna send it again and you can respond.
Oh, sure, yeah, please.
And you recommend it?
No, I didn't. He reached out to me when he got his project approved. He then reached out to me asking if I had recommendations for builders that he should talk to or something, and then he just wrote me out and said he applied.
That'd be good for you.
What?
And I'll also just want to remind everyone that we have a alternate architect on the CDRC. So in case Rebecca has her own project that yeah, that we can.
You have an alternate from over the hill.
From the other side of the
Right.
bay side. I think if I remember correctly, her name is Jessica C.
Yeah. So anyway, those two people, and I'll find the letter, that said, but if I get off this and I lose my place, I don't have any more place. So, that's it for the report, for the chair report.
Yeah.
I'd like to, am I supposed to do? Close chair report. Oh, is there any comments from? Open the floor.
Yeah, so, yeah, matters on, the discussion session or communication for matters not on agenda. Yeah, so, per chair, now we're opening public comments for oral communications for matters not on agenda. For those attending this meeting in person, speaker forms are available, in the back. Please provide me with your speakers immediately. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on this agenda item. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. When you hear your last four digits of your phone number or your name called, I'll prompt you to come to the front or unmute your account. Then I will inform you that you may begin speaking. I will then ask you to state your name for the record. For those joining by phone, pressing *6 will mute or unmute your microphone. Just a reminder, this is for matters not on the agenda. I don't have any speaker forms, and I don't see any raised hands from the audience here on Zoom. So let's just give folks 5 more seconds. Okay, Chair, I don't see any raised hands. So please indicate if you would like to close public comment for
I'd like
this
to
session.
close public comment.
Okay. Public comment section closed for oral communications from that are not on the agenda. And now we are at 1:27, so we're 3 minutes to the next item. That's the Moss Beach project. Yeah, item 1. Okay, so we just, this committee will come back in 3 minutes. Hi.
Hi.
Sir. Are you here?
Hers are from San Rafael as well, right?
Right, they are. Yeah, just 1 second, please, let me make sure there's no opportunity. Hey, Sam, this is Glenn speaking. So are you able to hear us?
Hi, Glenn. I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you all right, and I don't know why you didn't hear us. Probably that's about 2 minutes ago, I just mute this account. So because we're kind of in a break right now, we're just 3 minutes to the to your item. So I just muted the account. So probably that's the issue, I guess. Did you hear our discussion about the demonstration scale part?
No, sir, I did not.
You did not? Okay, I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but yeah, so let's just keep going, and if something happens, then we can just fix it at that time.
Yeah. So I'm not even sure. No,
I thought our last item was at 4, too, and then I think it was 4.
4:30.
But it's continuous, so.
You didn't make it work. Did you?
Oh, no, that's the item 3. The last.
Oh, the
item is
apartment,
continuous,
that's
the one we saw last month.
Oh, yeah, that's a new one.
Straightforward.
And.
For item 4.
Yeah. You know, I've done that before. Anyway. Right. But you say it was already, it's been heard on.
Yeah. I think Glenn emailed you the continuance letter.
Yeah.
I saw the colors, I don't know when they came in, I did a lot of my review yesterday, so.
Okay. Okay, so I think we don't have any issues right now, and yeah, so according to Sam's new message, you got cut off at 1:28. That's when I when I stopped recording and muted the account for our break. So hopefully we don't have any issues now. If there's any issues, so please let us know. So Sam, so now we're at 1:32. So we may begin the review session for item 1 on the project, PLN 2023-00051. Okay, and for this one here, Mark,
Yes.
yeah, Mark is the community representative for this project.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm marked in, CDRC, Long Beach. Member here. So this is a project, from owner is John Dahlman, applicant is Doug Kowalski.
Very good.
Apologies if I.
Not bad.
I'm butchered that. Okay, great. And this is at 601 Viewdemere Avenue, Moss Beach, with a parcel of, APN of 037155010. So this is a consideration of a design review permit recommendation to allow the construction of the ground floor 571 square foot addition, attached 331 square foot deck, and an attached 41 square foot entry porch to an existing single story 1,368 square foot single family residence on a developed 7,540 square foot parcel associated with a non-conforming use permit. A NCUP is required for the proposed major addition remodel where the existing house violates the rear yard setback by more than 50%, and to allow one uncovered parking space for one covered parking space is required. The project involves only minor grading and no tree removal. The CDRC render a decision, but will make a recommendation regarding the project's compliance with design review standards. Planning Commission public hearing on the DR permit and NUP will take place after January 11th. The project is not appealable by the Coastal Commission, and the application has been deemed complete as of December 11th, 2023. Project is Sam Becker. So now I will open it or hand it over to either the owner or applicant to talk about the project. Yeah, I'll hand it over to you, Doug. Doug, if you don't mind taking a.
Thanks for taking the hot seat here.
Yeah, hot seat.
All right, sure, man, I'm on video now. Okay, and you can hear me better too. All right, so this project, this is very, probably a 1920s cottage. And this project was designed to, use the existing home and add, basically a bedroom and a bath. The owners bought it and the garage was converted to an ADU. And they remodeled that to bring it up to current code. So now the main house is a 1-bedroom. They want to add a 2nd bedroom. And it's a weekend vacation home for them. Okay, but they possibly could rent out the ADU as for a rental. So it's to increase in size of the house to meet their needs. And also the addition was planned for the front of the house to replace the existing foundation, which is like a post and beam to isolated footings. There's no continual foundation wall. Okay, so it's really lightweight, substandard construction. So it's basically a 1-story. We had to pull back a little bit from a side yard setback. Therefore, the bedroom comes out, and then we create a little basement down there too, which is storage, which is not very deep. It's maybe 8 or 9 feet deep because the ground slopes up there. So it's very, I don't know, it's a 1-story home in an area of one and a half, and two-story homes that appear to have been built, some of them in the seventies, maybe the eighties, sixties, various styles. The scale of the project, I think, is, smaller than what's around it, actually. Because of this, it's a fairly large lot. The house that would be permitted on that lot would be twice the size of what's proposed, which, in all told, with decks in the basement and so forth, would be about 2,000 square feet. The lot coverage is like I said, half of what would be required. The houses around are mostly on the one street. You don't really see them. I mean, if you were to project a view from that house to the north, they are downslope homes that are 2 stories, and they present as 1 story from the street, basically a garage and an entry, and then the house behind, it was like a 2-story box with and then there's really nothing on the other side either. It's kind of an odd pie-shaped lot where Lancaster Avenue and View to Mare split.
And then just for this information, I have shared my screen with the group, so yeah.
Okay.
If you need to point us to like certain sheet number, then just let me know a number, then I'll move to that.
Yeah, no, that's very good. Yeah, you can see, that's the side elevation facing Lancaster is that right middle elevation, the north elevation. And that's, that's the bedroom. The addition is built in front of the existing house. All right, so look at the south elevation. You can see where the existing ridge line is. Instead of extending the roof up at 10 and 12 or whatever it is, we flattened it out a bit and brought it up so that we didn't create a valley for drainage. So it's basically trying to reduce the height of the ridge. We don't, it doesn't interfere with the view of the neighbor above. And because it's actually tight to his house, it blocks less view than it would if the house is farther down the lot. And Sam, Sam also said he was going to put photos in the project folder.
Glenn, there's some photos that the applicant provided in the SharePoint folder for this project. And additionally, if the committee is looking to see some color and materials, it's one of the last pages of the project sheet that you just had up. There's a colors and material board for everyone's reference.
Okay.
Hey, Sam, does that differ from what's the project plans on page 12 for color and materials?
They should be the same. I resubmitted it twice, showing the different, because this project was first submitted when we thought we had 5-foot setbacks, and then we were told 10-foot setbacks because because it was considered a corner lot.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But so that's another story. But so we designed it to respect that 10-foot setback. The addition and all the is outside of the current zoning. And the existing house predates the current zoning by decades probably.
Yeah, and I have these images here. So this is from the downhill side, and here's the house.
Right. So this is where the 2 roads split. That is the house above. So it's the front property line is at the point of this pie-shaped lot.
And I have other images to share with you.
Yeah.
And there's already, I'm sorry, I think I did a remodel on that house like 25 years ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what the bathroom, is it like trowel concrete?
Is what?
Is it trowel concrete?
No, it's towel.
Is it?
It's tile in there, yeah.
Yeah.
So there, I mean, there's the existing house, that yellow gable behind it is the neighbor. And then the next photo, she kind of has a better angle on it, and you can see it's,
So they have an ADU underneath that house?
It's the garage.
it's the garage.
The garage is the garage, yeah, all right, yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
showed the garage.
Right, so the garage was converted by the previous owner.
I wasn't listening, yeah.
I was hoping I could do that conversion. But didn't have permits.
Yeah, so is it, it's not legal, sorry, can we, or can we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I busted it.
Yeah, we'll head it back to you to continue.
Yeah. Yeah, so, all right, what was the last one?
Oh, just, we're gonna hand it back to you to continue the presentation.
Okay, right, so,
And-
But we can go through a period, so after the presentation, we go through a period where we're gonna ask you some clarifying questions, so I have the questions, but I'll hold on until you
Okay.
finish,
Yeah.
whatever.
all right, so this is really only the adjacent house, the rest of them are across the street. You really don't, even if you're looking straight on any of these elevations, you don't see them because of the topography. But you know, it's there, and you know, yeah, so there's a little parking, I think that's a garage underneath that deck.
On the neighboring house.
So, all right, so on the color boards, the colors are very neutral, similar, or, you know, it's a shade of gray, similar to what's shown in this photo, actually, with white trim, you know, moderate colored shingle roof. The deck, probably redwood, with a metal railing and exposed, pressure treated post below. Okay, so I was, you know, I got the demonstration to scale information about 2 weeks before this meeting. So we had to scramble to do something. And I looked at previous exhibits that came to this board, and I'm like, oh, that's what they want, is a poster basically on site showing the various elevations, all 4 sides, right? What I didn't understand was why you would post a poster on site and have to show the adjacent buildings when if you're looking at the poster on site, you can see the adjacent buildings, right?
I don't know that it has, yeah,
You're
it's
right.
part of the demonstration on scale for us sitting in the, or wherever we are.
Right.
At the time, it's a long way, it's kind of, it came from story poles. Because we really want story poles, I'm not necessarily on this project,
Right,
but.
so I look at this and,
It-
you know, and it's probably, I'm walking into a hot topic for this area with the story polls, because the first thing I saw was a petition by citizens saying, let's get this as an ordinance so it's more enforceable. But even in that petition, they were asking for story polls in projects like new homes and second floor additions. I think it's a little bit of an overreach, to require them for a 1-story house.
Right.
Unless there's some like overriding visual impact.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what,
One-story addition does not
I
require.
don't think we do.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we can go into that a little bit more in the discussion portion. And really, yeah, not that you necessarily have to, representation, but this is your opportunity to provide us some details about, you know, design, et cetera.
Oh,
that
okay,
would
right.
form our review of
Right.
this project, design reviews.
Right.
You can, then we'll, yeah, as Rebecca mentioned earlier, we'll have a period of discussion as well as public comments. I forgot which one happens first, Clinton. Is it public comment and then our questions?
So what happens is, the gentleman here, the applicant, introduces the project to the committee, and the next step is, committee asks questions
Okay.
that you may have, then now we start public comment, then after that, discussion.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the.
All right, so, you know, I guess back to the design intent. The design intent was to increase the house, add on to the house where repairs were needed. Right, so we, placed it where, where the foundation needed replacement. And then also take advantage, oriented the living spaces, towards the view in the deck. It's just, it's not really trying to do that much more. It's not, it's not gonna win any, Sunset Magazine Awards.
That's great. I mean, I think you've done a good job presenting the project.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I think, if you're done, we can open up to questions from the committee.
Yeah, do you have any?
Yeah, I have a couple.
You want to start or you want me to start?
Yeah, sure, I'll start, because I think mine are fairly quick. So, the plan does indicate a driveway, but material's not specified unless I missed that. Let's see if we can flip over to the sheet. Hope I'm not mixing projects here. But,
It's asphalt and gravel towards the street. I mean, it's
Existing?
existing, yes.
Okay.
It's existing going up to the previous garage, which is now the ADU.
Okay, yeah, apologies. Next project.
Okay.
So, and I think you're well within, the floor area and lot coverage. But I guess a question either to you or to Glenn is, I didn't see any of those calculations that we typically see on plan sheets. I just want to kind of ensure, like, Sam, did you review or check off on building floor area and lot coverage?
Yes, that should be on the title sheet on the first page of this plan set.
Yeah.
Oh, it's under project?
Under building and lot calcs in the middle of the page.
Thank you. Okay, on page 1, and I missed it. Okay, my apologies.
Got questions?
Okay, it actually did answer that. So I'll just start with that.
Okay. So the ADU is existing non-conforming, is that correct? And then all you're asking is to legalize it as it is, or are you making changes?
It has been legalized.
Okay, it has been legalized.
Yeah.
And then, have you guys done your engineering yet? Do you have framing plans?
For this new addition, no.
Okay. I'm asking because I have sort of follow-up questions about the decisions you made around the roof, and I wasn't sure if you were keeping a portion of the roof, and that was because you have that asymmetrical gable.
Right.
So I didn't know if that was coming from trying to keep part of it, but maybe you did mention not wanting to block the neighbor's view. Can you speak a little bit more about why you made that choice on the roof form?
Okay, well, right, it's, well, I mean, the roof right now is a bunch of different pieces, right? You can see from some of the dotted lines. So yeah, the asymmetrical gable seemed to be the easiest thing, but I can see where a contractor may come back and say, depending on what's in the attic too, right? Maybe they have to redo electrical and plumbing. A contractor could come back and say, well, let's just do a prefab truss over the whole thing and just get rid of this. In which case, the roof slope would change, but the ridge would actually drop lower, and we would get rid of that back portion that's a little steeper.
If that were to happen, you would probably have to come back to committee.
I
with a
saw
major
that because
modification.
and that's, even though we're dropping the ridge height, that would,
I mean, I think it would be up to staff to determine whether it's a major or minor modification.
Right.
Often things happen in construction that require some changes and they come back here and be pretty quickly approved, but just, obviously, the better defined it can be going in, the better. The other question, we'll discuss more. The other question I have is if you had a paint color for if you go up to page 12, sorry, my mouse is being very laggy.
there is.
You have some pre-finished, it looks kind of blue, but I don't know if that's just how it's printing. for the metal, and then the wood is called out as natural wood, and I think I just wanted
You just
a little
went
more
over it.
specificity.
Underneath the key, there are paint
Yeah.
colors called out, exact, Benjamin.
I
Moore.
saw that for the siding, is there? So the color that looks like blue, dark blue to me from here, what is that color?
Oh, that's, black.
It is
That's-
black,
That's
okay.
pre-finished. Those are the, pickets on the.
Okay,
decorative.
so I would think we will just wanna have that clarified. And then natural wood, you said probably redwood, can we commit to a species?
Well, the deck post and beam, would be pressure treated Douglas fir. The deck itself would probably be redwood. You're not gonna see that in this elevation anyway. That's,
Rebecca, is that something that we, would like a, specificity on?
Yeah, I think usually we like to know what all of the exterior materials are. I mean, using pressure treated, that's fine, where appropriate. But if the deck is gonna be redwood, then yeah, I'd like to see it called out as redwood. And I was, part of the conversation before the meeting was that I definitely, what you provided here doesn't meet what I'm used to seeing for demonstration of scale. I think given the fact that this is a one-story addition, and lower than the other houses, I feel like we can move forward with it, because I didn't actually think demonstration of scale was, or even that a CDRC hearing was required for a story addition.
So I feel like the policy should state that, but it currently doesn't. Like I saw City of Berkeley does state that, underneath 16, et cetera. So yeah, that's another comment we should have about that.
At
So,
one time,
but-
when we did have the story pools, it did indicate that it was
Yeah, but
questionable or
recommendation-
not, yeah.
Our recommendation was to, if it's above a certain height.
Right.
this-
or so many square feet or.
Yeah, and seeing also now that you only have the one neighbor, because I thought I was not seeing other houses represented, but they're just not there.
Did you
Well,
reach out to
there
them?
is, there is one thing that, I was gonna say for the discussion, but since you were talking about it now, the roof line is lower, but when I saw it from the east elevation, it looks like you see the existing and you see the new. The east elevation is really the predominant for that neighborhood that would be impacted. There's a increase.
Oh, there is by, what I was saying is if the contractor wanted to just take the existing roof part out, which is like, I don't know, 8 and 12 or something, and just come back with a 4 and 12 truss that spans the whole structure.
That's,
Yeah, then it would be lower.
that's like if it were 4 and 12, and that's if it were a 7.5, 12, which we can come back to.
Exactly. So it's, we'll pick it up in the discussion.
Isn't that an exposed ceiling in there?
Yes, it's a ceiling over the kitchen, and,
So it'd be harder than, or it'd be.
yeah, right, so it's kind of, yes, but sometimes a contractor doesn't want to deal with anything existing, and,
Plus a house like that's gonna be like this.
these old houses are like that.
I know, that's what I mean, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I live in one.
Any additional
Oh,
questions?
yeah, no, that's all my questions. Sorry.
Okay, great. So, let's go ahead and move on. I think we'll close questions. Move on to, public comments. So,
Okay.
I'll hand it over to facilitate.
Sounds good. Okay. So, we're now opening public comment section for item number 1. No correspondence was received prior to this meeting. For those attending this meeting in person, speaker forms available in the rear. Please provide me with your speaker slip immediately. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on this agenda item. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. Please provide me with your speaker form, raise your hand, or press *9 on your device immediately, and a speaker request will not be accepted. When you hear your name or last 4 digits of your phone number called, I'll prompt you to come to the front or unmute your account, then I will inform that you may begin speaking. I will then ask you to state your name for the record. For those joining by phone, pressing *6 will mute or unmute your microphone. Okay, I have not received any speaker slip. I don't see any speakers or attendees in the audience currently.
Okay.
One moment, let me check to see if there's any raised hand from the online participants. I see one member of the public in the audience on Zoom. So I'll just provide a few more seconds, just in case there's any speakers on the side. Okay, great. I don't see any raised hands in the audience on Zoom. So Mark, please indicate if you'd like to close public comment for item 1.
Yeah, let's go ahead and close public comments. And then move on to discussion. We'll open up to discussion.
Okay.
Rebecca, do you want to tackle on, this is a good time to tackle on the demonstration scale as well? Do you feel like?
Well, I feel a little bit, I was kind of taking a hard line about it before the meeting. I feel a little bit different given that, though is just the one waiver, which is shown as an outline and is taller, and the fact that we don't have any neighbors here raising any concerns about the height. I do want to talk about that roof profile and the, and just to make the point that typically what we're used to seeing, if not story poles, would be a 3D rendering that also shows the adjacent building, so we can get a better sense. Because I do think that the roof line that's proposed here may impact the neighbor's view a little bit, and that it's a little, it's atypical, so I think it would be helpful if it were better represented. And I forgot to ask during the question section, but I did also want to just make note that the exterior lighting, which is shown, needs to be dark sky compliant, and I'm not sure if what was shown there is.
There's a lighting back here. It's not. I don't think it's.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So I would certainly want to condition approval on a specification of dark sky compliant exterior lighting. And then of a color for the metal and a species for the wood. I think all of those would be pretty easy and straightforward. The bigger question in my mind is the asymmetrical gable and whether that feels appropriate for the context.
Yeah, and when you say asymmetrical, you're talking about like where the room, there's the room that's.
If you could go to the sheet before this, I might.
10 or 11.
I try 11, so I'm trying to do this on my own screen, but my computer's freezing up. Just my mouse. Yeah, I think 11. So I have sketched on my version of my computer what that roof would look like if it were 8 or 12 or to
Gotcha.
I can show it to you, or if it were a 7.5, 12, and I can show this to you too, sorry. Obviously, if you were to take the 7.5 pitch that you have and make that a symmetrical gable, it would be taller, which is not the way we generally like to move things here, although I think that either one of those would feel better to me than what is there now. I don't know, how do you feel about it, Mark?
Well, I'm always for minimizing impact, obviously on surrounding views, and the caveat being, right, views are not protected. There's talking design standards, or there's about minimizing impact, but you're not guaranteed a view. Right? That said, in terms of design, yes, aesthetics. So Rebecca, you're proposing, if there's asymmetry there, we could match the lower structure, the former garage, that would be more pleasing.
I mean, it's a pretty traditional looking cottage, like, so introducing the asymmetrical roof doesn't feel totally consistent with the existing architecture. I think if the roof were a symmetrical gable at 412, it would match everything else a lot better, but.
I agree that would be preferable
Mhm.
if there was like no concern for budget and disruption and.
So you are keeping part of the existing structure
Yeah,
as part of,
yeah.
okay. That's why I was wondering if that was what was
Right.
driving it.
And also at the same time, when this was initially designed, we thought that by not remodeling the part that was within the setback,
Mhm.
the way I read it was if you don't, you know, since if you don't remodel the non-conforming part and you're adding on outside the setback, you wouldn't have to go through
You're
the,
subjected to less.
Mhm,
right, and we wouldn't have to go through the planning commission
mhm.
review. But then, you know, other things triggered it and the interpretation of substantial
Mhm.
remodel. So we ended up having going anyway.
You're kind of on the line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the expansion, Rebecca, is on the left-hand side there.
Right, the expansion is within the compliance zone, and don't need to change the existing non-conforming things.
So if you go to 10, you'll see how the framing works. Right, so section A kind of shows you exactly how it would work. Where we're keeping the existing ceiling in the kitchen and the bath, in the rear part of the, and also the bedroom. And then California framing over to a new framing that extends over the addition. And part of the ceiling where it's needed.
And did you have any communications with the one neighbor about, have they seen the design?
I think, well, they were mailed plans. I know the owner has talked to him. I don't know that he's
Okay.
reviewed this with the neighbor.
Yeah, and, sorry,
Go ahead.
but just jumping back to the demonstration of scale, I mean, you know, to me, you're not getting anywhere close to the height limit there of building
Right.
2 stories or any of that. But the east elevation is showing an, you know, an increase in height, which is gonna impact that neighbor and. And
Right, but sorry to interrupt, but we're talking about a roof over a 1-story house where by right, they could build a 2-story house. They're not
completely understand, but it's more about notification and the opportunity for that neighbor to be aware of what's being built. And with the demonstration of scale that doesn't show their adjoining property, it's just how to put it. Yeah, this is not one where it's obvious that you're building as big of a, you know, property as you can, and you're trying to skirt around the demonstration of scale. But the fact that the demonstration of scale doesn't, you know, in my estimation, meet the requirements of the policy, it's opening up potentially a can of worms for them, you know, to potentially say, well, this was not complied with, and so we didn't truly understand the impact that this small increase or whatever you want to call it, it's going to impact our views. So
from my visits to the site and looking at the situation, I don't believe it will. We're raising the ridge maybe 2 feet at the most. It would probably block part of the view, the bottom part of this lot. I mean, the neighbor's lot. You know, so I'm not sure what kind of view they have.
yeah, and also, you know, ability provides us some of our overall feedback, you know, during this discussion section. But I do have this, you know, some of the notes that I've jotted is I do think that the placement where you placed it on the lot, this addition is sensitive to the surrounding environment, and also you're facing it towards the front, which there aren't any adjoining neighbors, or sorry, there is adjoining neighbors, but they're pretty far away from the front of the lot, and it's downslope. And so there's a lot going forward that's real sensitive to the neighbors and the natural environment. That said, again, it's just that demonstration scale. It's something that has vexed our committee for a while, and you know, we've had a discussion everyone here about how do we address this. If this isn't, you know, we find this particular submittal lacking, if you will, demonstration scale. So that's more of a discussion for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a 1-story structure, and the neighbors have been notified, and they haven't reached out to us to let us know they have any concerns. I think I can assume that they don't have any concern, but also because the design concerns that I have are all about the roof form. That's a place where a more robust demonstration of scale would certainly be helpful. I do think I have some ideas about what I think would be better for a roof form. I think that I would be open to them being suggestions rather than conditions if that meets, if that
Yeah, I think that's a
agrees
good.
with what you feel, because it is a pretty modest addition, and we don't wanna, make things impossible for you. I mean, I think that the addition largely does comport with the guidelines, so this is a little bit more of a subjective thing, but I think that especially, and I don't know if there's a way we can find it right, if you do end up demolishing that existing roof, then I would want to see it's symmetrical.
Of course, I mean,
Yeah, right. And if you don't, I mean, I think that a symmetrical gable over the, I guess we could just kind of call it the primary volume, at either 412 pitch, which looks like it's what the ADU is that right?
Right, that's the garage roof, which was an addition to the cottage and introduced that slope.
Mhm.
Yeah, the new slope is 412.
And then the other slopes are 12 and 7.5. I mean, I think a symmetrical 12 and 7.5 roof would also look great, but I'm not gonna.
It would look great, and you'd have a huge attic.
Yeah, but it would be taller relative to the neighbors, and they won't have seen it and have a chance to approve it.
Right, it probably would block
Yeah.
a view at that point.
So then I might say a symmetrical roof of either 12.4 or maybe as much as 12.6 would, I think, be more kind of internally consistent with the rest of the architecture. Other than that, I kind of just want to see the specificity on the exterior materials and lighting that we discussed already.
So let me see if I can, so we talking about a recommendation of a consistent slope. You're talking about just a new structure or including a modification to the existing?
Including a modification to the existing, that would be a suggestion, not a requirement.
And that's when in the situation that that existing fence gets.
I think that, I think it can be a suggestion regardless. If it sounds like the design team is on board, that if they do demolish that roof, they definitely would go to something symmetrical, so
That
that
would definitely be a 4 and 12 to
Yeah.
match. I mean, the whole project has been trying to minimize the different scales and slopes
Yeah.
and volumes, because it's been kind of tacked down over the years with various things.
So then I think section A on A 3.0 is a good reference to say, suggest a symmetrical 412 gable over section A on sheet A 3.0. And otherwise, just to, as a condition of approval would be dark skylighting, calling out the a color for the black metal. And
It's-
Well, so just process wise, what we do is, there are items that are recommendations or suggestions, which are to be provided back to you for consideration, and then there are items that are conditions of recommendation.
Okay.
We can only include what was your recommendation.
It's also funny, but okay.
It sounds so wishy-washy. But here's my dilemma here, Michael, with that. It's just, so requiring that colors are spelled out, for the metal as well as the pressure treated supports and then the deck. But is that any color or is it just a color?
Well, I think that if the metal is intended to be black,
Well, it's pre-finished, so you have an option of white or black,
okay.
right?
So I think if it's black, then that's
Say
fine.
black,
Are you okay with this specifying that it needs to be black?
yes.
And then for the decking, will all those finishes just be clear? You're not gonna stain?
Natural.
Yeah, natural. The decking the decking itself is not visible to anyone other than the occupants, so.
Yeah, it's still part of what we review the whole
Yeah.
palette though, so.
Right, probably, it's, redwood has a really good fire resistance, so that's my recommendation
Okay.
is natural redwood.
Okay.
Right, and whether they want to maintain a finish on it or not is, who knows what happens in the future, right?
Okay.
So
we'll
just the
do it the natural, it's a natural redwood. I mean, you could stain it any number of colors, and if that was your intention, we'd like to know, but if it's just gonna be a clear natural, that's fine. The shingles are called out, the siding paint color is called out. So I think that's pretty much everything.
Okay, and to summarize the, in terms of requirements, it's a requirement to specify dark sky compliant for the lighting, that the middle color is black. The material, not the finish, is natural ribbon.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think that's what that's our general assessment. And, unless there's further discussion, this is sort of the time of the meeting where we ask you, if you would like us to make a vote on, consideration of recommendation.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with everything you said, and, I will please make a vote on it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the project, conditional on the material and lighting specifications previously mentioned, and with the recommendation for a symmetrical 412 cable.
Is there a second?
Yes, I second that.
Okay, Rebecca Ketkin, roll call. Rebecca
Yes.
Ketkin. Okay, Martin?
Yes,
Okay, motion passed, and congratulations. And the next step to work with your project planner, Sam Becker. And he will let you know about next step, and yeah, so you'll have more information for your artists.
Yes, yeah. Planning commission meeting.
Yeah.
For this small little bit.
Let's go to planning commission for that.
Is it because of the
Is there any-
existing non-conformities?
Because.
They need a
Yeah,
non-conformity.
and you'd be.
well, we wish you luck.
Well,
All right.
one hurdle over.
All right, I have found these lanterns in, dark sky compliant.
Do they?
There's an LED up inside that shines down on a diffused light, so it just gives a glow, but it's a
It's nice to have a little, it's very welcoming, but
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be bright. I mean,
No, they don't make them bright. They're dark, they say. I was gonna like one, so,
We
Yeah,
can comments.
you can find them, just like
I
that.
think it's
all right,
But
but
they're-
it's probably less
It's
expensive.
not so much.
Yeah.
No, the other way is you just shoot up, you just, it's just
The
a,
cleaners are kind of.
Right. right, yeah, everyone's everything else.
Okay, so should we, is it time we can adjourn this meeting? Or sorry, let's-
No, we
Recess.
can take a recess, and now we can take a about 18-minute break. And also, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Sam. Sam has spent a lot of time working with the applicant on the overall compliance of the project. So yeah, so it has been so that's,
Thanks, Sam.
yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
And,
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, committee.
yeah, and also regarding the demonstration of scale policies, and we'll have further discussion at future meetings, and I'll also probably need to find opportunity to talk to the city RC members offline, so we can do some consensus, and so that's what we're going to do moving forward. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, keep it alive very much.
Thank you.
There's.
Yeah. I know, well, going into it, I was going to be like, oh, I'm not even gonna.
So I'll mute myself as now. Just one moment. Oh, hi, yeah, so, we have Angela Chavez, she's, the project planner for item 2, and, she's participating on Zoom. And we have our, the project applicant for item 2 here. And, yeah, so the committee representative for item 2 will also be Mr. Martin.
Thanks, Glenn. Hi there. Mark Din, CDRC, member representing the Moss Beach community. So the item that we put in front of us here, is from owner Howard, I'm gonna butcher his last name, Kemke. And applicant is, Bob Bryant. This is PLN 2022, 00373. At 455 Vermont Avenue in Moss Beach, VPN 037133280. So this is the consideration of a design review permit to allow the construction of a 1,508 square foot attached garage / workshop to the existing 1,230 square foot single family residence on a developed 7,800 square foot lot. The project involves only minor grading and no tree removal. The project is not appealable to the California Coastal Commission. In conjunction with the requested DR permit, it is recommended that the Coastside Design Review Committee determine that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15303. The application was deemed complete November 16th, 2023, and the project planner is Angela Chavez. Okay, I will go ahead and hand it over to the applicant or owner. Provide an overview of your project and any items or any thoughts you'd like us to consider in our design.
My name is Bob Flurry with Flurry Bryant Design Group. Bob Bryant's partner. Bob Bryant's submitted an application. We think it's a pretty simple project. It's a garage and workshop. When all said and done, it's all to be painted the same color. The existing house and the addition will all be painted the same color. And those colors are on our color board. There's virtually no site impact, no off-site impact. I really don't have a whole lot to say. But I haven't prepared a presentation, but I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. So Bob and Bob, huh?
That's it.
Okay. Design. Okay, very good. So, so just process-wise, what we'll do next is open up for the committee members to ask you questions. After that point, we will open up to public comments. And then after that, we'll have a discussion, and then we'll, at the end of the discussion, ask you if you'd like us to make a motion or vote on this project. Okay. So since I started off questions for the last.
You know what, though, mine are on my screen, which I'm having trouble with.
Okay, I can start.
Yeah, we used to try again. Okay, now I've got them, but yeah, go ahead and start.
So I actually had a comment, but it turned into a question when you mentioned coloring, because it does, in your project, you do have, let's see here, it's a white and black color palette, if you will, just where a lot of the trim is black.
Mhm.
And when I passed by the house, when I pulled it up in Google Maps, the coloring was this kind of more pastel, very light coloring. So it didn't read from the project plans per se, but part of this permit is to Or I guess, I don't know if you need to get permitted for coloring the existing house, but, the plan is to, color the existing structure, to repaint the existing structure as well.
That's correct.
And so what are the existing colors?
The existing color is kind of a, mostly yellow.
Okay. And the intention is to paint the entire body of the house white and then for the trims to be black?
That's correct.
Okay. Um,
Okay, this is the project, I had a question about the driveway. So there is a driveway shown.
Yes.
It's not, it doesn't specify what materials are planned for that driveway.
The new driveway is supposed to be gravel, is my understanding. I think it's actually labeled as such for site plan.
If you could, if you were planning to pull that out and see that.
Now, can I have the page number?
Just on page, 8.
Page 8. Okay.
Yeah, the site plan, just along Vermont Avenue. Shows, it indicates a new driveway, on existing curb cut. And it just shows like a line indicating that structure, so. I think, what I'm curious about is, yeah, pervious or impervious. Service. Yeah, that's it. So I guess a question for you is, yeah, are you specifying gravel for this material, or?
Yes.
Are you comfortable with us putting that in our
Just a condition.
requirements?
Yeah, gravel's fine, that's what we intended to do, so no objection.
Were there existing elevations? I just saw the proposed elevations as part of the set. Do you have existing elevations for comparison?
I don't believe I do.
And is the existing structure a combination of stucco and T111 siding?
Correct. T111 is around the sides and the rear. You know, if you look at our sheet 4, I don't know where it is in your packet, but there's a proposed front elevation.
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
Okay, so if you just take away the addition that's on the right, the existing house elevation is what
Is there, okay.
Yeah.
And is the addition that you're adding, is the only place we are adding T111 in the treatment under the gables on the addition?
No, it's around the backside as well.
Around the backside, matching the existing.
Existing, yeah,
Okay.
matching the existing.
Because typically we don't, support T111 siding, but when it is matching something that's existing is the exception.
Typically, I don't either.
Okay, did you have any other questions?
Yeah, just, the big, workshop, it looks like there's, I don't know if you might call it like an entry, those entry space. I was just curious about that shop entry, as you call it. Why not lead straight into the workshop / project?
Well, he wants to have a place to be able to change his shoes and that kind of stuff, you know, if he's full of socks or something in the back of the workshop. Yeah, it's kind of sort of a mud room, you could look at it that way.
So, this is more of a question for that's what the questions, but, so just, you know, looking at some of the zoning issues, so when you have like a detached accessory building, there's a limit, you know, to that for 1,000 square feet. But when the accessory structure is attached, it just says that it has, you know, it's, that doesn't necessarily apply, but, you know, just curious, I haven't seen a project come across with such a large, you know, space that's just dedicated to like your workshop.
Yeah.
I know Angela's on Is Angela on the call as well?
Yeah, Angela is on.
So,
The project that's coming back for item 4 today, were you on the review for that one last time, or was that?
That was Beverly.
Oh, that was
That was
Beverly, okay, I was gonna say, because I
Yeah.
saw one last month,
Yeah.
it was really similar in having this huge, just sort of ill-defined.
Yeah, so,
Space.
so I can kind of respond to that, and also Angela's on the slide, and she may correct me or add additional information. So, if I understand your question clearly, when they like adding like a giant workshop or a garage, so the square footage of that garage, it needs to comply with the zoning standards. Sometimes they, in certain, districts, they may get like a square footage exception. But generally, they need to comply, that needs to be counted toward like the lot coverage and also floor area. And also, yeah, so it's kind of getting more popular, this type of design, having like a big garage or workshop that's getting more popular. As long as it's associated with the primary residential use, then that's considered part of the residential accessory.
Gotcha, okay. So accessory building, are there requirements about what's shown? Because this, this doesn't have an electrical plan or like plumbing, shown here. But I would assume that if there's any plumbing work that's done, that has to show off around the plans.
For plumbing work, I do not believe there's a planning requirement for plumbing work within a unit unless you're doing like some above ground, like plumbing, fixtures or equipment that needs to be shown, but if it's like inside of the house, we normally do not require them.
Can I just add that, hi everyone, that the limits that are detailed in the detached accessory regulations would not apply in this case. It would just be the overall standards that are outlined in the S17 development standards because it's attached. So regardless of its use, it's basically the same, just overall floor area and lot coverage that the underlying zoning allows. And no requirements for plumbing from a planning perspective.
Thank you. Those are all the questions that I have.
Okay. I think everything I have, I'll save for the discussion section.
Very good. Okay, well, this is the time to, I'll open up, or hand it over to Glenn to open public comment.
That's good. Okay, per Mark, we're now opening public comment for item number 2. So no correspondence was received prior to this meeting. For those attending this meeting in person, speaker forms available on in the rear. And please provide me with your speaker slip immediately. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on this agenda item. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. Please provide me with your speakerphone, raise your hand, or press *9 on your device immediately. And late speaker requests will not be accepted. When you hear your name or last 4 digits of your phone number called, I will prompt you to come to the front or unmute your account, then inform that you may begin speaking. I will then ask you to state your name for the record. For those joining by phone, pressing *6 to mute or unmute your microphone. Okay, I have not received any speaker slip. And I don't see anyone other than the applicant in the audience here in this meeting room. Let me check if there's any raised hand on Zoom. I don't see any raised hand so far. I'll just provide a few more seconds just in case there's a speaker request from the participants on Zoom. Okay, Mark, I still don't see any raised hand on Zoom, and I haven't received any speaker slip. So please indicate if you would like to close public comment for item number 2.
Yes, let's close public comment.
Okay, great. Then we can move on to the discussion section.
Okay. Okay, discussion.
Okay. Could you pull up his sheet for the exterior elevations, and then the other one I'm gonna be interested in looking at is, I think, the one right before that, the roof plan, but we can start here. So, yeah, we can start here. The two things that came up for me as items of concern are one, briefly, the T11 siding, which it looks like if you look at the rear elevation, am I correct that the rear of the existing house is on the right there on the upper drawing and there's, and so that's stucco?
I believe it's T1 was certainly drawn as stucco.
It is drawn as stucco, which, I don't know if you have photographs or if we can Google and maybe get the answer, because if it is stucco in the rear, then I would be inclined to want to see the addition as stucco also. I might be inclined to want to see that anyhow.
I don't think we would have an objection to that.
To changing that,
Yeah, maybe we could make that a condition of approval or something.
But we could
I love it when we can support the design team and the things that they want. That the clients may then off the spring for, but, so one issue is that, yeah, I think I would be more comfortable with more of this where the stucco finish. I like matching the treatment under the gable, so that I think that's.
So we find that it's T111 on the existing house then.
Yeah, I think we could word it so that we can just say to match.
Match, yeah,
To match.
I think we can do that.
Okay.
And then, so I guess there's actually two other things that, I wanted to talk about. One is, everything existing now is a gable roof form, right? So you're introducing the hipped roof form.
Yes.
And I guess I could have asked this in the questions section. Why did you make that choice instead of sticking with more gable?
Well, it was really kind of we were trying to match the gable on the front of the existing house.
Mm-hmm,
And so that's how we ended up with the two gables on the front of the garage. Trying
and
to-
those work for me.
Yeah, okay. We originally came in with a different proposal that had a huge gable in the front and more roof showing. And that was, we changed it from that based on staff's recommendation to bring the scale of the whole thing down and have it more in scale with the existing house.
I guess what I was wondering, because the hip does feel a little out of context with the rest, is whether there could be, like, this is a connector here, whether this roof form could spring off here and connect so that we wouldn't be seeing so much of the roof in this format. It might actually make sense to toggle back. Can you go back, I think, one page to the roof? Sorry, Angela, you can't see what I'm doing. So if this primary gable stayed as it was and then rotated, if there were a form rotated that way, wouldn't that allow there to be a gable expression on the back as well? Or it's because it's wider?
We could certainly put a gable on. I think it would be.
But it would be
The gable
wide.
itself would, I think, be out of scale with the rest of the
Mhm.
house.
Let me share it. That's what I was. Share it. Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, if there were to be a gable expression on the back, I would think that it would make sense for it to be, this, not the full width of the back, but similar to the proportions of the gables that you have, which certainly would leave you with some things to resolve there. But I think that taller hipped roof form didn't feel optimal to me, so I didn't know if we might talk about possible alternatives. I mean, it's not super visible from the front, but I do think that, I mean, you could just change the expression in the back to a gable without changing the profile that you have on sheet 4, I guess, except that then it wouldn't be truncated, but you're not close to the height limit, are you? Is there a reason that's truncated?
Yeah, we're not losing it.
And remember, like, this is time to, as well, just, facade articulation as well. It's a pretty big box. I mean, we can save that for later
Yeah.
as well, but, adding a gable would certainly help in that regard.
It's true, you could just have a gable expression in the back and still actually have that hipped roof form to the side if you wanted it to be narrower. And then Mark brings up a good point, which is the other issue that we talk about a lot here is facade articulation and the right side elevation in particular. If you can over to sheet 4, and sorry, I'm making you go back and forth. It's a pretty, that is a long plank, expansive wall, and the rear elevation also. There's no windows, there's no jogging, there's no stepping. So I think it would be good to see more articulation. And again, it's a one-story volume.
Yeah, it's a one-story
Even the
volume.
Windows go a long way.
Exactly, and you know, it's also a workshop, right? So I can understand that you're not looking for windows, et cetera, but just from the neighbor, et cetera, it is a pretty boxy structure there. That's as large, if not larger than the house. By square footage.
It does look larger than the house and it's taller than the house. I do think that, there probably could be some more successful roof forms. And, you know, one of the things we asked for in the guidelines is a primary and secondary roof form, which you've done at the front. So that the two gables, which mirror what's happening on the house, I think the front is pretty successful, but I would like to see a similar expression on the rear and some kind of more articulation on the side.
Yeah, because of the scale, to me, it's gonna start to feel like, I mean, you know, we're not, almost like a commercial space with an accessory house versus a house with, you know, it just, making it more residential.
So would it be acceptable to, if on that side elevation, if we were to put windows in there that would, you know, break up the expanse of T111? It's kind of difficult to change the roof forms over there without moving the walls in and out.
Dormers.
Yeah, that's a good point. There could be dormers. I mean, moving the walls in and out is one of the things we often like to see. Although, I do feel like it's not, I don't think that I would require that here where we have just a one-story structure, because a lot of the articulation is intended to break up the sense of mass, right? And so a one-story structure just doesn't feel that massive.
But I didn't think of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to, are there color elevations here? Oh, yeah, there's just the color board. I mean, I think also the fact that everything is white and just the trim is black, isn't helping. We like to see a secondary siding material or a secondary color. I mean, you have the two different materials, but when they're all painted the white color, then I think that they're not helping to break down the massing. So if there were, especially if you're not just matching existing, if this is something new, I think it would help for there to be a secondary color. And I don't want to be, I'm always torn because I don't want to be overly prescriptive and tell you what you have to do with the roof. And I also haven't, you know, put in the time to explore exhaustively all the possibilities of what could be there. But I'm also sensitive to the fact that most people would like to get a recommendation for approval on their first go around. So, you know, I think there are a number of things that I feel like would help break down the sense of bulk here. And I guess I'm torn between just kind of trying to outline what those things are and giving you the time to come back and represent them, or if that's not what you want, we could try and go through, you know, item by item. And
Yeah, and I think maybe what
Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna put
please.
words in your mouth, Rebecca, here is that, yeah, I mean, there's the option to, you know, discuss what we're discussing as issues and let you go back and, you know, make changes as appropriate, or try to workshop, if you will, potential solutions now and work towards a recommendation.
I see.
That you, and a lot of this determines on how far our comments, you know, start to tip the scale for you with design. So, I mean, yeah, I'm okay. We want to start throwing out some potential options that we see and start to move the discussion in that direction. Given that, you know, we do have 30 minutes here.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, and I see there's a raised hand from the project planner. So Angela, and yeah, please unmute yourself and you may begin speaking.
Sorry, I just wanted to offer one small area of caution. That if the roof design were to exceed 16 feet and we're really close right now, it would actually change the required setbacks. So, and it would make the proposal non-conforming. So I just something to think about if we're going to ask for changes. I'm sorry?
If the gable were to come all the way, if the hip, you see how the hip is truncated at the top? If it were to rise to its peak, would it be over 16 feet?
I think it probably would be, because I think it's at 15 and a half.
That's a good point, because when I looked at this originally, I was thinking about a 15-foot combined setback for sides, and then realized it's under 16 feet, so that's why it's, only 8 feet, proposed 8 feet on.
Exactly. Anyway, I just wanted to.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do think that it would probably be possible to create a gable expression on the rear facade, similar to the one on the front, but single gable as opposed to a double gable, without changing the hip, right?
Yeah, I can
Are
see.
you drawing it right there?
Yeah.
You want to come up and show us what you're looking at? Because I don't want to design you to.
That you could create another gable in here, right in there, so that the rear elevation, you've got that element. That breaks up that continuous E line.
May I?
Yes, please.
I guess what I was imagining was bringing something, making the gable there, but those are sort of same thing.
Yeah.
Well, just symmetrical with it. I don't know. I mean, that might actually look better. And I don't think we need to dictate, but I think, and I'll turn that back to you if there was more you were gonna do.
Well, I was thinking over here, you could do almost the same thing. You could run a,
This side would be more.
That would help, yeah.
Since it's very.
yeah, so this one you could do something like this.
You could add a dormer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In fact, I'd probably make it a dormer, rather than take it all to the outside
Yeah.
wall. It could be almost like a Dutch cave too, so there's a triangular piece showing up here.
So, yeah, I think if you feel like that works for you, we could probably find language about adding a gable form at the rear, similar to the size of the one in the front, and a gable dormer form on the right side, so I'm looking at on the right side, and some windows on the right side.
So we'd end up with something here.
And that would be.
No, it height.
Right, not changing the height at
Yeah,
all.
it doesn't
Staying
change
below
the
that.
height.
Right, it could be similar to the
Right.
size that these are, and it could have a similar expression and accent siding.
So I just think it might be better to. We'll make it work. We'll either
Okay.
do like a Dutch gable, or we'll do a dormer, or we'll do a gable end on that roof.
We can leave the language vague to say a dormer, a gable, or
Dormer, gable, or.
would you say Dutch gable?
Dutch gable.
Yeah.
I guess it's a gable.
Yeah.
So this
You
is.
say a gabled form, be it a dormer or a tree gable. we can
Gable
find
expression.
something. Yeah, you can use gable expression.
Gable expression.
Now,
Yeah.
if we can accomplish that,
Mhm.
would you still like to see windows down here?
I think we want to see some windows. Yeah.
And I guess in terms of not being too restrictive. Do we specify one years?
I think we
Well,
can
we'd like to
say
have something centered under this
2
gable.
to 3 windows, give you some flexibility.
Yeah. I probably, if we, this gable that we're gonna do over
You could
here.
run under, right?
I'd center it.
Mhm.
So it's kind of compact.
Yeah.
And this over here would just be,
Why don't we just set minimum of 2 windows
Two on this.
on this right side?
This is the right side.
And is it your preference to have it be blank there in the back?
I think so.
So it's like a workshop wall.
Yeah, he's looking for places to, hang his tools
Yeah.
and, he's got a lot of floor equipment that
Mhm.
needs to be.
I think I would be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just get.
I think,
There's that.
you can always put some bushes on that back.
But it is, so it is one level, right, so it's not like. in terms of
Yeah.
impacting neighbors, it's kind of, and it's not, the additional windows. Only one.
Yeah, some kind of gable expression on the side and rear and a couple of design, I feel like. And then with the condition that the back match, so if the back of the house is actually stuck.
Right,
over it.
right.
And how about colors, just, it is.
Oh, yeah. So are these currently the stucco and the T111 the same, or they're different?
There are, I think I have a picture of this. I get on the front. It's the same color, I think, because that's how it appears on the front.
We're planning to paint the existing.
Yeah, I'm just, are the owners really attached to the idea of it being a white house?
Well, the owner, his girlfriend is an interior designer,
Mhm.
and that came from her.
Ah.
So are they really stuck on it? I don't know,
Mhm.
but I think, if you said that in the gable ends, we need to do some sort of complementary color or something like that, I don't think it would be the end of the world. I think it would be.
It just is a suggestion.
Um,
It is only two colors, so we should strong.
I think we can make it a one of the conditions. To add a secondary siding color and give them the flexibility and, I think we might even say, since what we are looking for is these more muted colors, to add a warm secondary color, something like that, to achieve an overall warm muted palette, maybe even if it's a warmer white. Did you have a white paint color?
Yeah. In here somewhere.
White,
No, for instance, we could accent these gable ends with a different color, up in here, up in here,
right, and those other
here,
places,
here,
yeah.
and then on the existing house as well. So I don't think anybody would object.
Okay, so,
I can summarize what we have here.
yeah, I think that, and white dove it's a pretty bright white. I might almost think that that should be the accent color, and then to pick something that's a tone darker for the body color. But again, I don't need to get super prescriptive. I'm just pull it up on Benjamin Moore to see.
Well, I think what was attracting them to the white was the contrast with the black windows and the black.
Look nice, actually.
Yeah.
We did that in San
I
Francisco.
was gonna say, it's not offensive. I know we want to, blend with the landscape, darker tones or.
Let's leave it open for them. Let's just say to add another color that complements the white dove color, and that either color can be the body or can be the accent.
Got it.
And then we'll let the interior designer client have the freedom to make those choices.
Yeah, I can have that suggestion.
Um,
The darker color. One.
We could leave it as a suggestion that the guidelines suggest a warm muted palette, and that they might consider something
predominant.
consider a warmer color as the predominant body color. That could definitely be a suggestion.
Okay.
Goodness knows anyone can paint their house next year. I don't know how to say about it.
If they're violently opposed to that, is that a requirement or is that just a recommendation?
The suggestion is,
Conditions of approval.
yeah, we have conditions, which
Right.
are requirements, and
Right.
suggestions, which are recommendations.
Okay.
And so the condition, the requirement is that there's a secondary trim color
Mhm.
that's added, that a warm secondary trim color that's added, to try to achieve a warm palette.
Mhm.
So that's.
Got it. Yeah.
The suggestion is that warm color, we would suggest a warm color as the predominant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so since you do have the two different kinds of siding,
Mhm.
we'll just say like a main color and a secondary color and suggest that it go darker.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna summarize what we have for the conditions. The first one is on the driveway. I forgot about that, but the driveway is specified as a pervious material.
Yes,
I'm not even saying gravel, just pervious.
okay. That is on the site, so it,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, it is something that's already been documented.
okay.
I can show you. on the site.
Yeah, if you can, I should have asked. Sheet number one. Sheet number one. Yes. Well, oh, under the construct, which note? Oh, it is one place. This is existing curb cut driveway approach. This says a high wood fence type all around.
You're right, this just says new driveway.
Yeah,
Well, that's fine, yeah, we were planning on gravel, so, well, that's
Yeah,
certainly.
I'll just limit you to pervious.
Fine. Yeah, yeah.
So that's one. The second is that the back of the new construction in the back of the house. It's currently showing as T11 siding, but it should match what it should match the existing.
Yeah, so whatever the existing rear wall is, that's what we should do.
Yeah.
Understood.
Match. And another condition is as we discussed, the secondary color, or secondary color. Then the third one here is that gable expressions are added on the gable expressions or two sides. I gotta figure out what how to describe those two sides.
There's the right side,
Right, so
and then there's the rear.
okay, right side of the rear.
Yeah.
And then two windows on the back. Well, I wrote down to right side of the
Right side, yeah.
and we're not requiring one of the rear sides. So that's what I have for conditions. So
Okay.
a number of conditions with a suggestion to make the warm color that's selected for the trim. Hopefully be a ground color.
Yeah, I think we can live with all of that, so.
Okay. Anything else you want to discuss, Rebecca? Okay.
No, I think that's good.
So then, it's now time that we asked you if you would like us to move forward with a motion.
Yes, please.
You wanna make it?
Okay, I'll make it. So I make a motion to approve. So, consideration, so approve. A consideration for design review permits with the following conditions. It's condition that the driveway is pervious. That the new construction of the back of the house is gonna use the same materials as the existing portion of that rear portion of the house. That another color is added, a secondary warm color is added. That we have the gable expressions, dormers added on the right side and the rear, and then also two additional windows in the right side elevation. And then a suggestion about using more the warmer color, or having the warmer color be the predominant color of the house.
I'll second that.
Okay, so this,
Plan before we just, okay, we made that motion, we can vote on it, but then.
oh, okay, so if we want to discuss CEQA, then I would want to discuss it before we vote.
Okay, I'm sorry, I retract my motion.
Let's talk about SEQA.
Okay, and
5
Angela
minutes.
is on Zoom right now, and she's available to answer any questions related to CEQA.
Angela,
Hi, Angela.
Hey.
Hello.
yeah, so this item, is, the description is stating that they're making a recommendation that the CDRC determine that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA. As somebody who doesn't have a specialty in environmental
Sure.
And also the fact that, you know, this is a design review committee that is focused on interpreting, or I should say interpreting, but applying the mid-coast design standards. This feels a bit out of our area of focus, and so.
Sure. So I can just, there's a few things that help us to determine this. First and foremost, that it's developed parcel. So there's a list of categorical exemptions that the state provides us, assuming that you don't have like sensitive habitats or anything like that, which this parcel doesn't have. So essentially, usually additions, we would use a different exemption, but it does limit the exemption through size. But single family residential development in general, in urbanized areas is exempt. And the category or section 15303 is the section from the CEQA guidelines that details that information. Does that help? I know
Yeah.
it's a
Angela, so Glenn, members of the planning staff, I guess I'm failing to recognize where it's saying that review of CEQA is under our purview.
Oh, I think the thing has been is because it's a public hearing, there's no subsequent hearings. What we've historically done is in the letters, which I'm sure you've seen here and there, is we usually do a section that says like staff finds and then the committee finds. But because it's a public hearing and this is the final decision, it is something that we should notice. I barring any objection from Glenn, I think we still can do the staff fines, committee fines. But we do have to sort of put it out there as part of the consideration, since no one is going to get the opportunity to, you know, there's no additional hearings after this, basically. It's the decision.
Yeah, and also it's, it was kind of like a recommendation from staff to the committee. Staff has, our analysis and we present to the committee, and the committee doesn't have any objection to the thoroughness and adequacy of staff recommendation. Then, this committee should consider, accepting the recommendation to exempt the project from CEQA, in this case.
I mean, I think with Angela's description, I feel that we can accept recommendations as long as we know that staff has done their due diligence.
Yeah.
So part of the motion is that we are accepting planning staff's recommendation for a categorical.
Yeah, and also want to let the committee know that, planning staff take environmental review and CEQA seriously. So every time we have a project, we do thorough analysis using our GIS system, and also we rely on professional reports. Now, I'm not talking, maybe not in this case, but when it's necessary, we obtain information from experts to complete our findings before we make a recommendation to decision-making bodies.
Yeah, and Angela, the wording that I have issue with is that the CDRC determines if the project is categorically exempt. So I have no problem, or I would have no problem, you know, making a motion or voting that we accept staff's recommendation for categorical exemption. But I would have an issue determining that a categorical exception should be made for this project.
I mean, I think that's acceptable. I wasn't part of the conversation that and I apologize of why we're making the change. So I maybe have to defer to Glenn, but I think that's acceptable if you wanted to make the motion that way. And like, as I said, I think we could still continue to write the letters the way that we have, in that staff finds.
Yeah, I'm in line with Angela, so I think they serve the same purpose, and they remain similar. So it's a staff recommendation that the CRC determine that, is except under CEQA, so this entire, phrase or this entire sentence is a recommendation. If the CDRs want to, accept this recommendation in its entirety, then, that should work the same way, that should say serve the same purpose.
Okay, but it's not, we're not accepting your recommendation for us to, determine.
Yeah, understood.
We're just, I would say we're accepting staff's recommendation that the project should be categorically.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
Well, in
And I would-
Article 1501, it's basically the only thing that's not written in there is a garage or wood shop. Everything else is written in 1501,
So,
by the way.
yeah, so, Angela may, speak more on this, so I remember this case is, in this, we put 15303, and under 15303, we have accessory structures. So, Angela, can you please?
I think we also have to be really careful because this is not an accessory structure. This is attached.
Yeah.
So for purposes, this is an addition for purposes of our own regulations and for evaluation or CEQA. If they were doing a detached building, so at least 5 feet away, no breezeways, no attachments, then that would be a different discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, just, Angela, just looking at the standards, or sorry, the zoning regulations in chapter 22, it's 6409, talks about accessory buildings attached. So there are accessory buildings that can be attached.
I think the misnomer there is that it's really talking about garages. In that there are situations where they're allowed to be closer. When you have a slope greater than 1 to 7, and that section, when they're talking about attached, is what they're dealing with.
Okay, yeah. With the wording, but okay, so I'll try to make this motion again.
Yeah.
This is, so my apologies. Okay, so I'm making a motion to approve this design review permits with the following conditions: that that the driveway is specified as pervious, that the back of the house, or the material that's used for the new construction in the back of the house, matches the existing material that's on the back of the house. That another warm color is added to achieve a more muted palette for the property. Another condition to add gable expressions or dormers on the right and rear side. And final condition is that 2 additional windows are added on the right side of the property. And finally, a suggestion that the new warm color is used as the predominant color of the house. And the motion also includes that the committee will accept the staff recommendation to provide a categorical exception for the project from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15302.
Second that.
Okay, and, yeah, so, I'll do a roll call. Rebecca Captain,
Yes.
Mark Dean.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed, and, congratulations. This will be a decision of the Coastside Design Committee. And regarding next step, please work with your project, planner, Angela.
Okay. Will we be getting a written approval with conditions
Yes.
written out attached to that?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes it takes a couple weeks, so it's good to
Okay.
have notes in case you're
Yeah.
having to move right through the
Yeah.
building.
I remember what they are.
Good.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care. Have a good one. Okay, and, yeah, so we're heading into the next item number 3. So we'll recess and we'll come back in 10 minutes.
Okay. See how things are right, you just don't really know it.
Okay, we are 3:30 now, and we have applicant owner sitting in the front and facing the CRC, and we also have the project planner, Angela Javis, also is participating online. So, yeah, and the committee representative for this project is
Mark
Mark
Stegmeyer.
Stegmeyer, and Mark, please introduce the project to the group. Please.
And so I am Mark Stegmeyer, and this is Rebecca Kakian. We're reviewing project number 3, owner applicant Ray Heckert, and applicant Deepak Victor. Heckert. Oh, yeah. File number PLN 2022-00365, location Avenue Alhambra, El Granada. It says with parcel number 047206260. Consideration of design review, DR permit, recommending to allow for the construction of a new 3-story, 3,697 square foot apartment building with an attached 470 square foot accessory dwelling ADU and a 1,200 square foot attached 5-car garage parking on a legal 5,165 square foot parcel. Certificate of Compliance, PLN 2022-00176, associated with staff level coastal development permit. The ADU is ministerial and project that does not require review by CDRC. The project does not involve the removal of any trees and only minor grading. CDRC will not render a decision, but will make a recommendation regarding this project's compliance with design review standards. Staff will make a decision on design review permit and CDP after January 11th, 2024. The project is not appealable to the Coastal Commission. Application deemed complete December 14th, 2023. Project planner Angela Chavez. So that's the description, and I ask the applicant or the owner to give a description of the project.
Absolutely. I'm the architect. Thank you for considering a project. The lot, the way it's located, it's got a fairly deep frontage off front, and we needed to provide parking. We opted not to do like a podium construction and provide parking below, which we thought doesn't really lend as much appeal down the street. So we created the townhomes, 2 townhomes basically facing the front, and then the third one along the back with a smaller ADU at the very rear. With conversations with the planner, we agreed to lower the height of the building to be more in scale with the adjacent building. We were trying to also respect that there's a 1-story house to the right side. So we kept the driveway on that side so that it just creates a better feel to it. So the massing is all towards the left side. And we were trying our very best to keep it so that it contributes to the street as well as we can. You want to add things?
No, I think that's just, but, you know, same thing, that's when when I proposed this kind of idea to him, I said, yes, I wanted to keep that driveway along the side. I live in Moss Beach, I own the building next door, I respect the neighbors' opinions and stuff like that, and that very small house that's on a 50 or in a 25-foot strip next to it is a 1-story. It's been here, you know, long time. And the building to the right of it is a tall building, and it already is, you know, pretty close to its property line. And if I were to build my building similar to like the new one right here, where it was just a full garage on the bottom floor with 2 big boxes on top, I mean, it would dwarf his house. He would just have a narrow space for his little house. So I wanted to do the driveway along that side just to open it up, and it also gives a light corridor to the building behind me as well.
Very polite.
The other thing we've opted to do was rather than having it look like an apartment building, this looks like three smaller.
It looks like one condos, yeah.
Yes,
I don't,
so there's something.
how wide is that driveway?
Driveways, yeah, 8
Well,
feet. The required.
What's the cross street? I'm just trying to get the word.
516 is across the street is the new one. New building.
Oh, you said across the street.
Oh, that'll get me there too.
Okay.
Can we actually see it out the window?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it.
The one before that. Yeah. So if you look
Are you
if
looking?
you just.
It's on this side of the street.
It's on this side of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just zoom into the location map, so that will tell you there.
Oh, it's quite close.
Yeah.
Just that way.
You can see a lot.
That's
Yeah,
probably
you can see
because
it.
I was seeing these guys, yeah. Do you have any questions?
So I don't think I have any questions. And you did approach the neighbor anyway, though, you've spoken with the small house neighbor?
Yes, there was even a chance he was gonna come, but, yeah. He was, to my surprise, when he saw the sign posted last week, he approached me and says, I like the design, I think it's a value to the neighborhood, that's nice. That's what he said to me.
I see that you have color renderings. Do you have a materials board?
I didn't, we provided a digital version of the board.
Mm-hmm. Does your planner have it? Can
Yeah.
we pull it up?
Yeah, let me pull it.
I'm not seeing, the materials and colors all specified.
There's, yeah.
Oh, it's on this, oh, I mean, okay.
Glenn emailed it.
It's on the
Okay, I see
demonstration.
it. Okay, so.
Yeah, I'll just project it.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, no, see, I'm looking at this.
Yeah, here's the color box projected to the.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Okay, then I don't have questions either. We can move right into community comment.
Okay. Great, okay, that's, so we're now open public comment.
The person gets.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, either way, yeah, up to you. Okay, so, now we're opening public comment for item B. No public correspondence was received prior to this meeting. For those attending this meeting in person, speakers are available, in the back. Please provide me with your speaker slip immediately. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on this agenda item. For those joining by phone, please press star 9 to indicate your desire to speak. When you hear your name or last 4 digits of your phone number called, I'll prompt you to come to the front or unmute your account, then inform that you may begin speaking. I'll then ask you to state your name for the record. For those joining by phone, pressing star 6 will mute or unmute your microphone. I have received 1 speaker slip from the attendees. Mr. Brian Lee, please come to the front and then you may begin speaking. Please know that you all have 3 minutes. That doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a neighbor. I live in the Blue House over there, and I've lived there for 25 years. And when I first moved there, there were 2 houses, 2 duplexes next to me, and the little house that's to the right, and that's it. All the rest of them new. So I know it's very uncoast-like of me, but I actually support this. And part of it is it's the last infill lot in that entire block. I think it's very attractive, looks a little more modern, and it's kind of taken from, can't see it from here, but the building that's behind it has a similar railings. And there's a little bit of continuity there, and it looks like a nice thing you'd see in San Francisco or something like that. I'm somebody who believes that we need more housing. And we're gonna have 3 units in ADU that's gonna be helpful for the coast. I also really appreciate that the applicant cared enough about the person who's next door and didn't, slam his building right up next to him. And it sounds like they actually took some effort, the applicant as well as the architect took some effort to make it more pleasant for him. And I think it's actually more aesthetically pleasing. There's a few houses around here, tiny little houses next to 2 apartments building, and it's kind of awful. You don't even see the sunlight. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm thinking it as a positive because it's attractive. It looks like it's well designed, and it also takes into account what's going on in the neighborhood. And to me, we need housing here, and so this to me seems like something that would be a benefit to the community.
Thank you.
Your comment.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't see any other speakers lips, and I don't see any raised hands. I'll just provide a few more seconds, for public, may want to come on the project, so. Okay, I don't see a raised hand, so Mr. Mark Steckmar, please indicate if you'd like to close public comment for,
I
item
think we
number 3.
close public comment for project number 3.
Okay, now we're moving, toward discussion session.
Discussion session. I didn't ask, but did you see, the driveway permit? Well,
Yes, it was.
Is permeable paver? Okay, great.
it's just permeable concrete. Oh, it's pavers. I'm sorry, it's you.
Well, I just want to say, I think that this project has done a really nice job of breaking down the massing. This is something we spend a lot of time on in this committee, and this is a big boxy structure, which does not read like a big boxy structure. So I really appreciate the delineation, the use of color and texture to break those things down, the stepping down at the back with the ADU and the space you created to the smaller house to the side. I think this is just a rendering. If you could go to page 8 of the plans, yeah, that have all the renderings on it. Couple of small notes, yeah. So one thing on the bottom right-hand image, it looks like there's some house numbers there, which you can't see. So just wanted to point out the fire department's going to require illuminated house numbers. That's not really a planning thing, but I pointed out. And then I was wondering on if you look at the front elevation, the front view there, are the white and the dark siding in plane? Is there a little jog there, or how is that transition of materials to be delineated?
It's going to be in the same plane.
Mhm.
And the reason we went through a few rounds with the planner on this issue, we wanted a little more
A
delineation.
little push,
But because the available depth and what we wanted to do, it was impossible. So we had to flatten it. So the way it's going to be done, it's just going to be like a small reveal.
Okay, so it'll be like a channel
Yeah.
reveal? Okay, that'll work for me. And then same thing when you go around to the side of that, okay.
Yeah. And that's because you have to maintain it.
Got enough space to work with, yeah, okay. And then, on the upper right-hand image, you can see that the white wall above the ADU is a pretty big blank expanse. It's over stairs. I was wondering if some clear story windows or something in there might be enough.
The only thing we were concerned about is how the building department interprets that as a lot line in a way, because there's another building next to it for fire purposes.
Oh, because of the ADU?
For the ADU. So, yeah.
So would you not be permitted to you have to have a fire
We
rated
would
window?
have to have something in the back, actually, but like we had assumed that we may not be allowed to do that. But we can bring that up. The other thing, actually, right before the meeting, I was saying, I said, like, I know that is a little, sort of blank thing. So I was thinking that like maybe we can create like a little pattern in there with like different stucco lines, just reveal it and create like some horizontal bands that in just 2 or 3 colors could sort of break down that.
So my notes on it said that it looked like a good opportunity for either windows or a mural.
Okay.
I mean, even if it's if it's a fire separation, you would still be permitted to have windows, but they get very expensive because they're the fixed fire rated kind of windows.
That's
So I don't know, I mean,
I love that.
it's,
I can,
Yeah.
if you just put that as a thing that like you plan to explore.
Could it show up, sorry to interrupt.
No, please, go ahead.
Could it show up as a suggestion or recommendation?
yeah,
That per planning and fire, codes or whatever,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
suggest.
yeah, I don't wanna lock you into, $20,000 worth of fire rated windows or something. If the building department doesn't allow that, we might find language that says to add windows, and if the fire department, or if there's an issue with building, then in lieu of windows, to add some kind of decorative painted treatment to that back facade. I'd like to see something there, and then let me find the right page. If you could go to.
Before you hit on, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, it could be a nice movie screen for the small house.
It's true, it's
That's
true.
what I love to see, Bree.
Would be, we can find some way to enliven it. If you could go to page 14, the west elevation is kind of, again, you've done a really nice job of using materiality and putting the stripes on there and doing some stuff to break it up. I was wondering if there could be an awning similar to the one over the two front doors, over the pair of doors, the ADU and the other door.
I would love that.
Yeah.
It's 5-foot setback.
I think it is-
Permitted to encroach with an architectural detail up to 2 feet, so it might not be super deep, but you could put a form here to the extent that it's allowed as an architectural,
Absolutely.
what is it called? An ornament,
Architectural feature.
an architectural feature.
Right.
And then with a similar treatment to that, I think that would be great. And then I kept playing around on my screen with it, like, I was wondering if this could extend out past and catch that one, or is there a reason why it's stopping right where it stops?
What about the color? Don't
I
they
think it
show
was
the-
just
the
the,
color of the color?
yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yes,
is,
the elevation.
I don't have that.
You wanna look at mine?
Yeah,
really
sure.
small on my
No,
left.
no, 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 no.
I was playing around with it in review to see if it could comment. Catch that, I'm not gonna make that a requirement, but I like it.
That's fine.
Okay, we can make it a
Yeah,
suggestion
yeah,
to
absolutely.
extend the horizontal
Absolutely.
siding on the,
And I think the awning would
West.
definitely make a difference because it would sort of accentuate that a little.
Yeah,
bit. Break the
yeah, I
point.
think those little moves on that side would make that side feel more articulated. I have this, so I can email this to you
Okay.
if we want, if we're talking about
Are you
it.
still doing?
On the west, yeah, so to add this to the extent allowed in approach, and then to extend this horizontal
Right.
siding volume to catch the second.
And the window.
Articulation.
Should this fire block, does glass blocks work back there?
I don't know, maybe, so Mark's asking where I was asking about windows on the rear, if glass block would be.
You don't have to clean it as
Permitted.
much.
I think, can we find some language that gives them the flexibility to do an operable window if allowed, otherwise a
And
fixed
is
fire
that, is
window.
that going to be directed back at you or the planning staff?
Planning
Sure.
staff will determine if,
Sure.
once or twice, I feel like planners have maybe sidebar contacted the committee to ask if we feel like,
Okay.
if that
I
clearly
think totally
needs
open
it.
to that, and actually I should praise the planning staff, they did make some recommendations that actually made the project better.
Good.
And the only thing I have a suggestion is I think you guys should really think about exploring that a little more projection is allowed in the front setback.
Yeah.
20 feet along the front on a small parcel and even if this railing, we have to push it back against that. It couldn't be a balcony. It
I
couldn't
was
be
wondering
anything.
about, so isn't a balcony an architectural feature that
No,
we're permitted
it's-
to
If
encroach?
it is occupiable, it's not.
Uh-huh.
So what I would
Yeah,
almost
too
say
bad.
is like maybe going back to create some more items in here that give a little more flexibility. Because the 20-foot setback is pretty substantial. And if you had a little more play in there, that would make this big.
It's
really
It was.
way
Look at the S17, this S17.
No, this is S3 or 3. but I think it is the same
Like
front.
a green window or some project.
I mean, I have to say on the balconies that to have a small balcony is one kind of convenience because it keeps things looking
Yeah.
clean.
Mhm.
There's not a bunch of stuff up there
I
and
mean, you could recess the
things are-
doors in, but
Yeah.
that's, I don't get it, there's like,
It-
you're
it-
fitting a lot of
yeah.
things into this real estate.
your wetsuit, the towels.
Yeah, I guess you can still hang a wetsuit over that
Yeah.
building. The one other thing, if you could go to sheet L1, which is page 20 of 21. There's planter beds in the front, and I don't know what those plants are. The other ones are all called out.
We can identify. those
Yeah,
two.
so if you could
Yeah.
identify those, and then, because the guidelines, usually, we look for a little bit more of a kind of natural interspersing of plantings rather than like a row of 3 of this kind and 3 of that kind. I was gonna request if the plantings on the up page side, I think that's the east, on the top. If instead of going like grevillea, 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 and then, oh, yeah, bluebell, 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 we could just all have some alternating of the species instead of like 3 and
Absolutely.
then 3.
Absolutely.
If we could just vary those and then define what the ones in the front are.
Yeah, now there's a raised hand from the project planner, Angela Chavez.
Great.
Sorry, this might be a little late, but I'm looking at I guess it would be the left side setback, and it looks like the plants and they're like smaller 6 to 5 gallon plants. There's 3 kind of, but the main entrance to the ADU is there, so I don't know if we maybe want to reconsider that planting as well.
The left is firm.
Yeah.
Small, because it's gonna be the path of travel to
Yeah.
the ADU.
Exactly.
Is the path of travel from the, oh, I see what
Along
you're
the
saying,
side.
yeah, that those left firm are kind of big for there.
All valid points, like, appreciate it.
Yeah, so we could recommend some smaller plantings along the pathway to the ADU. Are you trying to create a kind of privacy screen between the adjacent building and
Yes.
your building there? So,
Right, you wanted to.
Yeah,
like
kind of.
fence.
is there gonna be a fence?
Yeah.
There will be. a fence.
Okay.
Shows us the fence.
Yeah.
This is side.
Screen. So, yeah, I think we could, thank you, Angela. No, that's for.
Oh, my
Thank you, though. I should be fine, it's mostly things that are far, but somehow it's, text is looking smaller. Yeah, we could suggest smaller screening plants along the access way of the ADU. It's great renderings.
Yeah, the renderings are actually good.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add, or just? talking,
Just
talking,
that,
talking?
yeah, just the pavers, I do just use a McNeer or something like that. You've got the color tones. I guess almost like a white for the driveway and a gray for the pavers patterns or anything like that.
We do, yeah, I mean, we would ask to have that specified.
Okay.
Can you, sorry, yeah, can I see that sheet again? So there's the. I mean, I think that could work as a gray or a warmer tone, so I think as long as they specify what the paper is, that's good enough for me.
We can provide that to Angela as we're moving through and.
It's,
I saw downlights.
yeah, I saw them, I think those are dark sky compliant, right? They look like.
Yeah, they do.
As long as they're the down version, not
I
the.
was gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get the render to get all those fine points, I feel.
And if you want to put any of these points in there as a condition of approval, totally. We would be using downside.
Yeah, that's the movie screening
Yeah.
wall. We'll all sit on the roof of the ADU, totally safe, and watch movies up there. No, because we've got some language in there to break that. Anything else you want to
I think we close, discussion.
add? Okay,
And then open, meeting.
do we need to, oh, I think you guys need to, let us know if you'd like us to take a vote.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Take a look, yes, please.
Okay, yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that we, are we approving or are we recommending approval here? We recommend approval of the project with the following conditions, that are, adding an awning over the doors on the left side, of the ADU door, and then the door adjacent to that, similar to the one in the front. That we,
What's on the side?
yeah, I mean, I think that I would be okay with that being a suggestion.
Okay.
But, that we break up the mass of the third story rear wall with either, windows or glass block, or if there's an issue with the building permits with either of those, then in lieu of those with some kind of, decorative treatment.
Extruded. Yeah.
I mean, I think it could even be a painted decorative treatment. I think it could be a pattern or a mural or, I think we could try and leave it open that the preference would be for fenestration, but that if that runs afoul of fire code, that we would accept some other decorative solution. That the lighting be clearly called out as dark sky compliant, and that the pavers be specified. And with the suggestion that the horizontal siding on the left side be extended to catch that window band. Have I left anything out?
Sure, you think this one with the tree, which is.
And interspersing the planting on the driveway side and using smaller plantings on the ADU access side.
Which could be actually just some lattice and.
Yes,
some,
or vines or
vines
something.
growing on it or something.
And you also mentioned the pavers.
And specifying the pavers, specifying permeable pavers. Won't tell you what you have to specify, just as long as when you go to final, you have something in there.
And I'll second.
Okay,
Okay, then I'll do a roll call. Rebecca Kekin,
yes.
Mark Stackmeyer.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed, and this is a recommendation. And regarding next step, please work with your project planner and your Chavez. And yeah, congratulations.
All right,
Okay.
very good.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah, it's really the fastest we've ever approved a multi-family project.
That was like a breeze.
Like, that's a big one. There's gonna be, we were expecting a room full.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good guys. Have a great time.
Great project, thanks.
The light
boss.
That always souped it up?
No, it's just Hawk Design the side, black truck.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
You can recognize this noise or?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
He carries a lot of.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah, let's get started, and, I have one of the applicants, one of the, member of the architect team.
Yeah.
And now we have our project planner, Mr. Kenwar Kelly. So let's get started, and this one, Mr. Mark Stegmeyer is the community representative for this project. It's in Montera, and, Mark, can you please, start introducing the project to the group?
item number 432, maybe. Rebecca Catkin, architect, Mark Stegmeyer, representative. Consider a design review permit recommendation to allow the construction of a two-story, 2,383 square foot addition, including an attached 4-car garage and a new 97-foot long driveway to the existing 2,910 square foot two-story single-family residence with an attached 485 square foot garage on a proposed 16,250 square foot parcel after lot merger between 1043 Date Street and adjacent vacant parcel APN 036152310. Associated with the staff level lot merger, no tree removal. This project was scheduled for continued consideration from the December 14th, 2023 CDRC meeting. The CDRC will not render a decision, but will make recommendations regarding the project's compliance with design review standards. Staff will make decisions on the design review permit, LM and GP after January 11th, and the project is not appealable to the Coastal Commission. Application deemed complete December 22nd, 2023. Project planner, Kenoa Kelly, who is present
Yes.
online. And at this point, I'd like to ask the architect owner or the applicant to go over the changes that they've made for the continuance, to satisfy the continuance.
Thank you.
Oh, you just got it? You didn't get, you were there? Was that night?
How you doing?
Good, oh no, but can you help me out?
Oh. Jason.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good.
Long
Good
time
to
no
see
see
you.
you. Yeah, so we took your advice, we did the changes, we went ahead and did a landscape plan, which you should have there.
Can I have the?
810.
It's 11 of page 11 of 14.
Page 11, okay. This one here?
No, this one here.
So there's a landscape plan there. We added trees as recommended. We actually matched the pavers that was recommended. The pavers do match, and we have a sample of that on one of the pages there. A4. You'll see the pavers there. A4, and then they want, sorry, number 10.
Well, no, the paper sample's on A4.
But that's okay, let's go to number 10. Okay, heck of it. So you'll see there's the stone that matches the existing stone, because that was one of the other questions, was you guys want a color chart and make sure all the exterior finishes match. So we got the stone to match. We actually test the roof will be the same, and then the colors are an actual match. So we added your belly band that you requested. We have that going all the way around, and then we added that deck in the back. So we get some, get that roof to come out a little bit on the back.
And is the stone that's, sorry, I'm just gonna jump in, I'm supposed to wait, but is the stone that's shown on this color view, is that where it was before? Did you add the stone?
No, that's where it was before.
Okay, we just didn't decide to see it.
We wrapped it around the front just like they did the existing residence, so it matches the existing residence design as far as that goes, as far as exteriors go. But back to the landscape stone is on 9, you said?
A4, which should
A4.
be, I think,
Ahead of this.
this one right here.
So that's the color of the pavers that are existing, on the existing road. So we're gonna use that, for the garage drive up to the property line, and we have gravel from the property line to the street. And then back to the landscape plan, now that we've got all the pavers matching, the exteriors matching, we've got your belly band, we've got the stone and colors matching, we've got the solar roof matching. I think the only other question was landscape, and we've got a landscape plan.
Are you using 4x8 brick paper?
They
That's what
are,
it says on there,
yep, they are 4x8,
but no grout.
no problem. Yeah, well, that's what they have, so we're gonna know existing, yeah. We're gonna have to compact really good and put in.
Yeah. And keep the gold for you.
Yeah, right, good luck. I think that was a requirement, or at least a recommendation when we were here, to try to match as close as possible the existing.
Do you have a, did you do this, I had patio roof before, did you just say that?
The little patio, yeah, they've added a little.
We added a patio behind the proposed addition to get up to the upper level of the rear of the lot, which I thought was a good idea. We added that patio, and that gave some articulation to the back of the building. And with all those things we did since our last meeting, I believe that was all the things we recommended.
And the landscaping plan, did you have specifics?
We asked for a landscaping plan, and when we get to comment, I'm gonna make some couple of notes on it, but yeah. There was no landscape plan.
Oh, right. And how did they get that plan?
Maybe because there's really just adding a garage.
Oh, right.
Well, I don't think I have any clarifying questions, so if we want to hear from the one, maybe I'm really happy to throw it open and then begin.
Like open for public discussion?
Okay, so now we're opening up on the comment section for item number 4. No correspondence was received prior to this meeting. For those attending this meeting in person, speaker forms available in the back. Please provide me with your speaker slip immediately. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to raise your hand. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. And when you hear your name or last 4 digits of your phone number called, I'll prompt you to come to the front or unmute your account and inform that you may begin speaking. I will then ask you to state your name for the record. For those joining by phone, please press *6 to unmute or mute your microphone. And, I don't see any raised hand from the Zoom attendees. And I have received one from Kate. Kate, would you please come to the front and speak on this item, and you will have 3 minutes.
Okay. I just have a clarifying question.
Yeah.
Is there water in this building that they're adding in the addition? It didn't look like in the plans that it's just a room and a garage, is that correct?
It's just a garage and rooms above, but no, there's no plumbing at all.
There's no plumbing at all. Okay, that was my clarifying question. And then the drainage is for this big driveway that'll just go into the culvert there. What's the plan there?
The civil engineering will help us with that and make sure we manage the drainage appropriately, but yeah, it will capture the water and bring it to the culvert. More than likely, or we might have a retention area that's required.
Okay.
Continue on what the civil engineering finds is the most feasible way to manage that.
Yeah, and to add to that, the county has the drainage manuals, which means after the planning approval, when they're at building stage, our drainage reviewer will review the project for drainage compliance.
Okay. Okay.
So it will be done per the county standards for drainage.
Okay, so we're in support if you want to.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's good.
Okay, I haven't received any additional speakers though, and here I don't see any members of the public on Zoom. So Mark, please indicate if you'd like to close public comment for this item.
Please close public comment.
Okay, discussion session.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I think that you have responded well to the things that we requested. On page 10 of 14, your sheet A9, the colors as represented look a lot more bright and vibrant than when I go to the Google Earth. So as long as it's clear that they're matching, I'm fine with that. I'll just maybe call that
Yeah,
out.
our painters typically, they'll go out there and they'll color match it.
Yeah.
When we do demo, we take parts to Ace and they'll just color. match it
Yeah,
for us.
so if it's color matching, that is
It
fine.
didn't print out too good either.
Yeah, it looks, right,
It looks.
that's
Yeah.
fine,
It looks
if we're
neon.
color matching. I did, looking on the Google Earth, it looks like the stone band on the existing house extends maybe to an inside corner, an inside termination somewhere a little further. It does feel awkward to me that it's just stopping at the garage door on sheet A9. And I wonder if we could extend it all the way back or all the way around. Where would you go? I
You
mean,
could do the whole face of the
I think,
garages.
yeah, I would just do the whole face and would terminate it around the corner wherever.
Yeah.
So it
Makes
does
sense
stop.
to you.
On the existing dwelling, it does stop.
It
just-
sounds like an inside corner or something,
Right.
right?
Yeah, but if you just did the, in between the garages and that corner.
Right, so I mean, if you did that like on the back, that would be fine, but this feels like lopsided kind of, so if you could bring it around and then wrap it around.
What if
the
we
corner and
ended,
stop
what
it.
if we ended it shorter? What if we ended it like,
Uh,
they're not really fond
Yes,
of the stone?
you could end it shorter right at the corner, so it's really just a front treatment, I think.
Yeah.
That would be fine, yeah, so to wrap it the whole way or to end it short, but not to just dye it at the door.
Put a water feature like that.
Would be my request.
Yeah.
And then on the landscape plan. There, where the pathway is going from the driveway up to the front entry. It's a little hard for me to tell if those are all called out as Grevillea, but I would just ask that this area here have intermixed plantings of 2 or 3 different types mixed in with each other and not just be a solid bank of one plant. And then, did you add anything to the bay or just the belly band? I can't remember if there were windows there before.
Moved a couple things, like the windows, we actually, instead of having the windows kind of step down the stairs, we just put it on the top.
Okay, yeah.
I think that looked better.
Okay.
And now we're just wrapping the siding there, and then the belly band, accents that a little bit all the way around, and then the belly band will tie into the, deck on the other
The
side.
facial line, okay. Mark, do you see anything you wanna talk about? You do all of that, I mean, I could. Okay. I mean,
It would.
it would make sense to do something like either to do an accent on the whole tower or to do the bottom base of the tower as an accent that we
Like
could certainly
water
throw a
You're
suggestion or
gonna
something
be
in
bored
there.
back, you know, we can do something different, but we're trying to match the
Yeah.
existing
Yeah.
residents and
I think.
I know when we go to build, and as you know,
Yeah.
the builder here, we were building, there's some things that happen on site that enhance the project
Yeah.
organically as we go. If you see any of our work, we do that all the time, so, you know, we're gonna do our best to, but right now, we're just trying to get through this phase.
Yeah.
Get approvals before we go and detail
Right,
it, you know, every.
I
corner
could
of
see
the
putting a
building.
suggestion there if you wanna use an accent siding at the bay to create more.
Just put it on a
variation.
suggestion.
Yeah, just put it on as a suggestion, an accent siding, it could be the stone, it could be board and batten, it could be, even be that the belly band breaks just at the
It'll come
tower or something, so that there's that little vertical element. Yeah, I think that being some kind of accent would be a reasonable suggestion.
And if we do it there, we probably would do it on the other. We're gonna get into that wall anyways.
Or either change to a natural wood or something like that.
It's kind of interesting.
Mhm.
I know the soffits like in the porch area here where the deck is, we usually do the soffits with cedar
Mhm.
and natural cedar, and that's something we can actually do here. Okay, good.
Yeah, that would be acceptable.
And there's no, is there a neighbor on the side of that, other side of that driveway?
Yeah, there's neighbors still left of us here.
Do they deserve, you got a 6-foot fence there?
Do they?
No,
You
do
know
you?
what?
I mean, it's
Well,
like.
we-
there's a
Do you
fence
have
there.
a retaining wall or a fence there?
I think there is a fence.
Over here.
It's Christie. Yeah.
Kind of a big slope.
Yeah, there you go, that's it.
Like
So they already have kind of a fence with
That's
the
our
hog-
house.
Oh,
Is
it's our
that,
house.
is that hog wire there fence?
It's, is that, I don't know what's
That's
the
the
name
cool
of it,
one.
yeah,
The
it's like
square.
wood atop, but you can see
Yeah.
through so that, which the guy that used to live asked us to make it see through so that it didn't break the view.
Yeah.
So.
So we could
like-
actually, if you wanted to, we could put a fence in there.
Okay,
It's just,
yeah,
that's something that us and the neighbors can talk about.
Yeah, or we can like improve, make it easier,
Yeah.
approve a higher fence.
Yeah.
Because we can approve like 7 foot instead of.
Yeah, 6 foot with a foot of lattice or something.
Yeah, well, you don't even have to do that.
But,
Some of these
uh,
areas,
When we talk about fence height,
just the coastal side, we have to stay at 6.
when we say, yeah, 6 foot, and then when you say lattice, that's, yeah, so that will require a further review. But it can be done at the building stage.
Okay, we
So at
can,
that time, so if the CRC is going to impose a condition, I would suggest making that a suggestion, so.
That's fine.
Staff can review it at the, building stage to make sure it's compliant, because when you say lattice.
that's where you don't have to be
theoretical.
theoretical. floors.
yeah, well, I think they're gonna have, is that? And I don't know.
Actually, he likes cars.
It's
So he wants
that was
to
it,
watch
yeah.
cars.
You're reading everything the way you want to read.
Which I have.
Please sneak over and look at the cards.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it's gonna
Okay.
be fun.
Yeah, all right, but yeah, so he must be like a car collector.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, motorcycles, things like that. So.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, we can.
Encourage the
Oh,
use of.
sounds good. We'll make something kind of
Again,
matches.
adding the
this.
dark
Yeah.
color that exists in the main house. The
So
underside
in the
of
color you showed,
in addition.
It's gonna be identical to this,
to the color that they already had, okay.
because the color we show, the swatches match, but when you print them out on paper or you scan them and send them, they look
Looks
different.
weird, yeah. It doesn't look Miami. in the-
Yeah. Yeah. It's a Southern California look,
Yeah,
pastel colors.
okay, that's good.
I
Thank
think
you.
we're okay. I
They've
think
got it
that,
there.
I thought with Beverly, I think she was interested in seeing, there's a note on the continuance letter, item number 3. Suggest adding the dark color that exists under the gable on the main house to the underside of the gable forms in the addition. Is there, I'm not
We're-
seeing that though. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna probably do natural wood,
Okay.
that's what we,
Um,
like a cedar, so that's gonna be darker anyway.
Under, can you show me on the drawings where?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pop that up and. So if you go to your elevations,
This one here.
you can go there. So not under the eaves here, but under this porch, we're gonna have a soffit with lighting, can lights. That's gonna have natural cedar underneath there is what we're
Okay.
proposing. Under here will be just show board, where we can even do some 1x6 show board on the eaves if you want, but I don't believe that's existing. There's no show board existing, it's just plywood.
Yeah, I'm not seeing, I mean, it's mostly hips at the front, so I'm not seeing gable expression. It has, I think maybe Beverly drove by and saw something, but is there an accent siding on the existing house under the gable end?
you see how the photograph there?
Good question. I don't believe so. I don't see any here. I don't see any here. Is it all pine, cedar now? Let's see any here. No, we're striking out.
Okay,
Oh, you know what? On the, oddly, it's on one other side of the building. So on that side facing north,
Oh, yeah, there it
There
is.
is
Look,
some shingles, like ground shingles in there.
there's that little
Like, I
part.
know they got at the entrance. Oh, yeah, that's it. The little one on the.
Yeah, the little one has that too.
Yeah.
I mean, we could make that as a suggestion too. I'm not sure it really helps if this volume to make
don't
that
think-
shorter. It feels like it.
If the window was higher, or something, if there was another window that. could make-
Yeah, I think it might look
Window's
weird.
too far down.
Yeah,
Might
I
look
don't
weird
think it
there.
would help there.
And as you know, the windows might end up higher.
Yeah.
Because we get into this and we realize the sight line might be better when you're upstairs.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's some stuff we need to,
But that's a stair.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
that's
staircase coming up, but they're gonna come into a landing probably up right around here. So yeah, those might end up becoming a little taller as we get through the process.
Yeah. I'd be
How
happy to
low,
see
how
the
low are
belly
the high windows?
button.
Just because.
These
I think
windows?
It looks good.
Yeah, these windows are probably at the 8, so they're
Right.
probably 15 inches down from the ceiling and another, so they're probably about.
You're not gonna see out.
About this high, I'm not sure.
Only
So they're not gonna be able to look
Mhm.
over the fence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we have on our list here? We talked about interspersing the plantings, the pavers are called out. A suggestion to add an accent siding at the vertical tower. And to either stop the stone facing just past the corner or bring it all the way across.
Or sunroof or wood.
Or,
if
yeah,
you
we
want.
make it a suggestion that the bay could be some sort of accent siding, I think that would be cool.
That's a condition.
No, as a suggestion, to give you some flexibility.
Using Charlie and Abby.
Or
Civil.
yes, for civil, absolutely,
Um,
more than likely. If they see this, they might charge us double.
If they see me. We're not doing it at all.
Yeah, exactly.
would you like us to take a vote?
I would, appreciate that.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to, you ready?
Yeah.
Am I rushing? I'm rushing, but to recommend approval of the project.
That's connected.
As condition, I think the only thing we had as a condition here would be to stop, to alter the way the stone facing wraps around that facade, as we discussed. And to intersperse the plantings along the entry path with the suggestion, not condition, with the suggestion to use an accent siding at the vertical tower, to break up the length of that facade. And do you have exterior lighting specified?
He said he's got it in the soffit, so it would
Oh, right,
just
so
be
it'll be
Yeah.
fine. My motion.
But.
Yeah.
I don't know, just because I have a house like that, but it should be recessed. And I mean, I have a neighbor that redesigned it, but they both put in a kind of a bulb on the bottom of those
Yeah.
soffit lights, and it really does, it's.
We can recess,
Yeah, but the bulb
Yeah,
is
like-
up
Is inside
inside,
the
yeah,
soffit,
that's cool, all right.
and there'll be LEDs, and there'll be like 2,700.
Okay.
lumens. So it won't be bright light, it'll be kind of a number view to it.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of that lately.
So I second it.
Okay,
Okay, roll call, Mark Stackline,
Yes.
Rebecca Getkin.
yes.
Okay, motion passed, and please note that this is just a recommendation. So you will need to work with your project planner regarding next step. Your project planner is Kennesaw County.
Awesome,
So yeah, congratulations.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait in the evening, huh?
Hey, that was awesome.
Small picture.
Hi, good night.
Good seeing you. Man, that's been a
It's been a
while.
long time, yeah, I know. Where you coming out from?
Well, I retired for a while. I've been doing this.
Oh,
I
yeah.
retired for about 10 years ago.
Just after.
Oh, this
yeah.
construction.
Rebecca and
So it's
Mark,
kinda-
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. We need to adjourn the meeting.
Oh,
What to do.
Mark, is there a second?
Then we're back to school.
Mark, would you like to join the meeting?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Mark, would you like to second?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
No, we're sticking.
Okay, roll call, Rebecca Kekin. Mark.
Hey.
Kekin. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Almost forgot.
Seven, I should retire.
Yeah.
But, you know, I dug a pretty good hole when I bought that half a block.
Yeah. You still have